Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to the talented Mr. Mazli Hassan. Tepukan untuk saudara Mazli Hassan. 20 years experience in performances. Thank you again, Mr. Mazli. Assalamualaikum, selamat pagi. Very good morning to everyone. Before we formally begin, I would like to invite our delegates who are still outside the ballroom to kindly make your way to the table as we are ready to start in 5 minutes. Kepada para delegasi kita yang berada di luar Dewan, kami ingin memohon anda untuk masuk ke dalam Dewan dan mengambil tempat duduk masing-masing kerana kita akan bermula dalam 5 minit lagi. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you so much for joining us. And for our attendees, please remember that you have to scan your CCD and CPD points and you have to stay with us till the end of the conference. I'm sure you know the drill. Other than that, once again, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you have a fruitful conference with us today. Let's give a round of applause to WIBM, a group of outstanding ladies, and it's so nice to see a lot of powerful women in the ballroom today, and the men too. But other than that, we are ready to start in about 5 minutes, so thanks for bearing with us. I'll be back with more updates soon. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if we could have your attention, let's have a look at the playback here on the main stage for us to share with you the safety briefing video prepared by MITEC.
The weather is lovely for a picnic.
Don't forget your umbrella, dear.
Voice verification complete. Greetings, agent. You are now located at the Malaysia International Trade and Exhibition Centre, or MITEC. Your mission is to follow evacuation protocol in the slight chance of an emergency. We will be walking you through your mission. Let's head towards the ballroom. If you are the first to encounter an emergency, break the glass to activate the alarm. Please only begin evacuation procedure after the PA announcement. It is important not to panic. Just head towards the exit in an orderly fashion. Head towards the loading bay entrance. At the entrance, you will find the assembly point. Wait there for further instructions. Congratulations, agent. Our GPS tracker informs us that you have made it to the assembly point unharmed. You followed the instructions and have evacuated MITEC in an orderly fashion. This briefing is now complete.
Thank you for paying attention to our safety briefing. Your event can now proceed accordingly.
All right, thank you, MITEC, for that safety video. Remember, calm and orderly manner. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to start soon, as I've been informed that our guest of honor is already in the vicinity. Once again, we would like to request for your phones and gadgets to be set on silent or vibrate mode so as to respect the presentation and speeches that will be presented today. Other than that, we hope you have a great session with us, and we will be coming back with more updates in a few minutes. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as we can see on the live feed, I will just start on that. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please rise to welcome the arrival of our guest of honor, Yang Berhormat Datuk Sri Dr. Haji Ahmad bin Maslan, Deputy Minister of Works, accompanied by our distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the national anthem Negaraku. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, to begin our day, let us seek blessings for the success of today's event. And with that, we would like to invite architect interior designer Mumtaza Mustajab to lead the Dua recitation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammadi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. All praise be to Allah, Lord of the worlds. Peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad, his family and his companions. O Allah, most compassionate, most merciful, on this blessed day, we gather here for the Women Way Forward Conference 2025. We seek your guidance, wisdom, and blessings upon this event. Grant us knowledge that benefits, hearts that are sincere, and a spirit of unity, peace, and harmony among us all. Bless every speaker, every participant, and every organizer here today. O Allah, make this conference a source of inspiration, a step towards greater success, and a path to a brighter, more harmonious and peaceful future for our community, our nation, and the world. Strengthen the bonds between us, ease our affairs, and grant us the courage to contribute meaningfully to global peace, humanity, and the environment. O Allah, grant us goodness in this world, goodness in the hereafter, and protect us from harm. And may peace and blessings be upon our Prophet Muhammad, his family, and his companions. All praise be to Allah, Lord of the worlds. ربنا تقبل دعاءنا واجعلنا من عبادك الذي تتقبل منهم عملهم ونيتهم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين آمين يا رب العالمين.
Thank you very much, Ir Mumtaza, for leading the dua recitation. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to formally welcome everyone to today's conference, starting with our guest of honor, Honorable Deputy Minister Yang Berhormat Datuk Sri Dr. Haji Ahmad Maslan, Deputy Minister of Works. Thank you, YB, for your support. Madam Zainura Zainal, Chief Executive of CIDB. Yang berbahagia, Dato' Architect Nafisa Radin, Chairman of WIBM Organising Committee and President of Wanita Industri Binaan Malaysia. Yang berbahagia, Dato' Architect Interior Designer Azman Mat Hashim, Deputy Director General of Public Works Department Malaysia and President of Lembaga Architect Malaysia. Yang berbahagia, Tan Sri Abdul Wahid Omar, Chairman of SciPark Resources Berhad, Senior Independent Director of IOI Corporation Berhad. Yang berbahagia, Professor Emerita Tan Sri Datuk Sri Dr. Sharifah Hafsah Syed Hassan Shahabuddin, the President of National Council of Women's Organization NCWO, Her Excellency Architect Siti Rosa Marianti Datuk Haji Abdul Rahman, who's the Secretary General of ASEAN Interparliamentary Assembly, Director and Principal Architect of Eco Bumi and Partners Berhad, fellow speakers and delegates, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. And on behalf of Wanita Industri Binaan Malaysia, WIBM, welcome to the Women Way Forward Conference 2025. Let's give WIBM a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. A group of outstanding, dedicated, diligent women who managed to pull this together. However, today isn't just a conference, it's a movement of women, outstanding ones, and of course the men who cheer them on. And these ladies are shaping industries, driving transformation, and redefining leadership across Malaysia and beyond. So with powerful sessions on leadership, innovation, and resilience, our speakers are here to open doors to new ways of thinking. So ladies and gentlemen, to officially open today's conference, it is with great honor for me to welcome a leader whose leadership, courage, and unwavering vision have steered this movement forward, the President of Wanita Industri Binaan Malaysia and the Chairperson of the Organising Committee, Yang berbahagia, Dato' Architect Nafisa Radin.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good morning. Yang berhormat Datuk Sri Haji Dr. Ahmad bin Haji Maslan, Deputy Minister of Works, Puan Zainura binti Zainal, Chief Executive of CIDB. Sorry, the lights are shining on my eyes. Three, Datuk AR Azman Muhammad Hashim, Deputy Director General of Public Works Department Malaysia and President of Lembaga Architect Malaysia, Tan Sri Abdul Wahid Omar, Chairman of SciPark Resources Berhad and Senior Independent Director of IOI Corporation Berhad, Professor Emerita Tan Sri Datuk Sri Dr. Sharifah Hafsah Syed Hassan Shahabuddin, President of National Council of Women Organization, NCWO, Her Excellency AR Siti Rozai Marianti, Datuk Haji Abdul Rahman, Secretary General of ASEAN Interparliamentary Assembly, who came all the way from Indonesia, distinguished guests, industry leaders, colleagues, and friends. It's both a privilege and an honor as President of WIBM and Organizing Chairman of the conference to welcome you to the Women Way Conference 2025, organized by Women in Construction Industry Malaysia with a strong support from CIDB and Kementerian Kerja Raya. We'd like to thank them. Please give them applause. On behalf of WIBM, allow me to express our deep appreciation to CIDB and Kementerian Kerja Raya for the trust and the confidence placed in us to lead this important national program. To WIBM, this is more than just a conference. It's a recognition that women play a vital role across Malaysia's built environment industry, spanning the full journey from concept and design to planning, construction, completion, and beyond. The built environment is not defined by materials and structures alone, ladies and gentlemen, but by the ideas, the leadership, and the collaboration that shape them. Today, we bring together those who plan, those who build, and those who lead, all contributing to a more sustainable and inclusive Malaysia. There are over 350 participants with us today, and many more had to be turned away at the last minute because of the overwhelming response. This clearly shows that the momentum for women's leadership in the built environment is stronger than ever. When we first conceived Women Way Forward, our goal was very clear: to bring together every discipline within the built environment ecosystem under one roof. Today, we have government and regulatory bodies, CIDB, JKR, Lembaga Arkitek Malaysia, LLM, MPSA, MPKJ, and many more. We have professional and NGO partners, PAM, IEM, RISM, NCWO, and others. And what's also important is we are able to attract corporate NGSC leaders like PJH, SP Setia, Plus, Malaysia Airport Berhad, TRX, Worldwide Holding Berhad, and many more. And we also don't forget the allies, experts from business, finance, academia, and policy. This diversity embodies what true progress requires: collaboration, inclusivity, and shared purpose across the entire value chain. Ladies and gentlemen, the Way Forward Conference has been designed as a purposeful journey from global to regional and from policy to practice. We begin with international voices who have shaped peace and leadership across borders. We move to the ASEAN stage, where women architects and leaders are transforming education and the built environment. Then we explore high-power industries like finance, property, and manufacturing, and we conclude with a vibrant forum celebrating innovation, youth, and future leadership. Together, these sessions embody what Women Way Forward truly stands for: its courage, its collaboration, and its continuous change. This conference goes beyond inspiration. It's about real action and transformation. Our objectives are to showcase women leaders across the built environment. We want to open doors for mentorship and collaboration. We want to create pathways for leadership and advancement, and promote equity, diversity, inclusivity as drivers of growth and innovation. By the end of today, I hope each of us, with new insights, with new alliances amongst us, and a renewed commitment to move forward together. For those who may be hearing of us for the first time, Women in Construction Industry Malaysia, WIBM, was founded nearly a decade ago to empower women across the built environment value chain. Our members reflect the breadth of the ecosystem. We are architects, we are engineers, we are planners, we are quantity surveyors, we are contractors, we are suppliers, and we are entrepreneurs, as well as lawyers, accountants, corporate advisors, who strengthen our industry through legal, financial, and strategic expertise. We advocate, we mentor and collaborate with ministries, agencies, and corporations to ensure women's voices are not only heard, but represented in leadership and policy. After today, we hope more organizations will truly know WIBM, not just by name, but by the impact and the credibility that we bring. The built environment is evolving rapidly with digitalization, with sustainability, and ESG principles reshaping how we plan and build. Yet women still make up less than 20% of the workforce and far fewer in leadership. This is not a matter of ability, ladies and gentlemen, but of access. Inclusivity is not a favor. It's a foundation of progress. When women lead, organizations thrive through diversity of thought, of integrity in decision-making, and collaborative leadership. Today, many of the decision makers who can drive that change are here today. Let us transform the insights we gain today into collective action tomorrow. WIBM is proud to align with CIDB's Construction 4.0 strategic plan and the National Construction Policy 2030, ensuring that gender inclusivity in Malaysia's transformation of the built environment sector is embedded in the Malaysia's transformation of the built environment sector. My apologies. As I often say, we design buildings that stand the test of time. Now, let us design an industry that stands the test of inclusivity. I must also acknowledge our male colleagues who are here, who are our supporters. Many of you have been mentors, partners, and advocates for women's leadership. True inclusion means working side by side, because when women rise, the entire industry rises with them. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of this year's conference, Shaping Tomorrow, Building Success, captures our purpose beautifully. We are not only shaping structures, we are shaping mindset. We are not only building infrastructure, we are building inclusivity, integrity, and innovation for the next generation. To our partners, sponsors, speakers, and participants, thank you for your commitment and belief in our cause. May today's conversation ignite new partnership, new ideas, and stronger, more inclusive future for women and for Malaysia's built environment. Thank you and welcome once again for the Women Way Forward Conference 2025. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much. Yang berbahagia, Datuk Architect Nafisah Radin. Thank you again, Madam President. Now, ladies and gentlemen, taking right from what AR Datuk Nafisah has shared in his speech just now, let's have a look at a special playback showcasing the journey of WIBM. Let's have a look. Building beyond boundaries. Let's hear it for WIMB, ladies and gentlemen. We had an amazing journey, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll hear next from a visionary leader who has been instrumental in modernizing Malaysia's construction landscape. Please welcome Madam Zainora Zainal, Chief Executive of CIDB Malaysia, the main supporter and backbone of this conference, to deliver her keynote address. Madam Zainora.
Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Maslan, Deputy Minister of Works Malaysia, Her Excellency Architect Siti Rozai Marianti Datuk Haji Abdul Rahman, Secretary General of ASEAN Interparliamentary Assembly, Director and Principal Architect of Ekobumi and Partners Sdn Bhd, the distinguished Datuk Architect Interior Designer Azman bin Mat Hashim, Deputy Director General of Works Malaysia, Public Works Department Malaysia, and also the President of the Boards of Architects Malaysia, the distinguished architect Datuk Nafisah Radin, President of WIBM, Wanita Industri Binaan Malaysia, the distinguished Professor Emerita Tan Sri Datuk Sri Dr. Sharifah Hafsah Syed Hassan Shahabuddin, President of National Council of Women's Organisation, and last but not least, the distinguished Tan Sri Datuk Abdul Wahid Omar, Chairman of Saipark Resources Berhad, distinguished speakers, esteemed conference participants, ladies and gentlemen. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to all. It is truly a great honor for me to stand here before so many trailblazers, women and men alike, who are not just imagining the future, but actively building it. I would like to take this opportunity to extend a heartfelt congratulations to Wanita Industri Binaan Malaysia, WIBM, and its partners for taking my challenge, actually, because I was the one that told Datuk Nafisah, the President, we should have this. It's been so long that we have not have a conference, the Women's Conference. So thank you for taking the challenge. To have this bold and visionary initiative. CIDB is very proud to stand alongside you, all of you, as a strategic partner, fully committed to amplifying women's leadership in construction, a sector predominantly and long shaped by men, but now, I would say maybe the last decade or so, now being redefined by women with purpose, skill and vision. Today's theme, Women Way Forward, speaks volumes. It is not just a slogan, it is a movement, a call to build success through knowledge, collaboration, and empowerment. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure recently everyone saw what has been going around in Twitter, a short video clip posted by a member of Trump's team of our Max Highway. That video clip has unexpectedly gone viral, and it has put Malaysia and highlighted Malaysia's infrastructure into international spotlight. There was even a few messages or a few comments, feedback saying that our Malaysia's highway are better than the California highways. So we are very proud about that, actually. We at the ministry. Betul ya, YB, Datuk Sri? So construction is more than bricks and mortar. It is the pulse of national progress. It connects communities, powers economies, and shapes the spaces we live, work, and dream in. But today, we are not just building, we are transforming. Digital technologies, sustainability demands, and shifting workforce dynamics are rewriting the rules of how we design and deliver infrastructure. At CIDB, we are championing this transformation through Construction 4.0, where automation, data analytics, and digital twin technologies boost productivity and cut waste. We are accelerating the use of industrialized building system, IBS, and modular construction to deliver projects that are faster, safer, and greener. But technology alone is not enough. We must also build with conscience. As everyone aware, our sector, the construction sector, contributes. We are considered a dirty sector. We contribute nearly 40% of global carbon emissions. That is a wake-up call. At CIDB, we are driving the green transition, embedding sustainability into every blueprint, every beam, every brick. Through policies, training, and certification, we are helping the industry align with Malaysia's net zero goals by 2050. Because in tomorrow's world, buildings must do more than shelter. They must protect the planet. Later, at the official opening ceremony of ICW, there'll be a few related to sustainability, green initiatives that will be launched by our YB minister. But let us be clear here. Transformation is not just about technology or targets. It is also about people. Our greatest assets is our workforce: engineers, architects, surveyors, planners, builders. And among them are women who break barriers, challenge norms, and lead with brilliance. I would like to share some statistics from that CIDB has gathered related to women. As of September 2025, women make up of just about 13.2%, 82,128 of Malaysia's local construction workforce, compared to 621,968 men, so just 13.2%. Among foreign construction personnel, only 8,167 are women, while men numbers over 400,000, roughly about 2%. And when it comes to entrepreneurship, only 3,381 out of a total of 138,527 registered contractors are women. That makes about 2.5%. So these numbers don't lie, they say. So these numbers tell a story, one of resilience, but also of underrepresentation. In this industry, recognition does not come easily, especially for women. We have always had to deliver excellence just to be considered. While male leaders are often poised and ready to bid for leadership roles, women usually need to be given the opportunity or to be asked. Women don't ask. I keep telling my team, the ladies in my organization. We do the work as best as we can, but we do not go up and ask for the position that matters. Whereas the men, I'm sorry, I'm not generalizing here for the men in the room, but this is what I observe. Men may not be as good, but they. No, I'm not saying that in this room, but from what I observe outside, they may not be as good, but they are out there asking to be the CEO, to be the bosses. So women, buck up a bit, ask for things that you can deliver or that you're good at. Yeah, ask to be given a position. So that is why I'm deeply grateful to the minister, to the YB minister, Dato' Alexander, also to my Deputy Minister, Datuk Sri Ahmad Mazlan, from the Ministry of Works, for placing their trust in me to serve as the first woman Chief Executive of CIDB. This year, CIDB turned 30 years. We are celebrating our 30th year anniversary. And after 30 years of CIDB, I'm the first women CEO, after the sixth CEO of CIDB. I'm still waiting for JKR and perhaps LLM to have a women head of agency as well. It's quite lonely up at the top. So the trust given is more than personal. It is symbolic. So I hope this will. I have a few ladies come up to me. They're feeling very excited, excited, and they are pleased that the ceiling has been broken. It reflects a belief that when women are given the opportunity to lead, we rise and also we deliver. Building on that belief, CIDB, together with WIBM and our industry partners, is committed to creating structured pathways for women to thrive through mentorship, capacity building, and leadership development. Because when women lead, innovation accelerates, collaboration strengthens, and the solutions we build become more inclusive and future-ready. Recently, a couple of months back, I was approached by Datuk Nik Arina, the MD of PLUS, to organize the Women Engineering Day. It was a resoundful success, and we have been, I'm discussing with Datuk Nik, perhaps for us to create some international chapters of women in engineering or women in technology or women in construction. I know there are some international bodies out there. Recently, I was in Croatia at the World Skills General Assembly. I met with a NGO from Denmark. They called Lady Bosses. The NGO is called. Just recently set up, and they are strong in EU, but they don't have any presence here. So I may just bring them here, the chapter here. So, ladies and gentlemen, a future-ready construction industry needs more than vision. It needs unity. We must bridge the silos between government, private sector, and academia. CIDB's strategic plan and the National Construction Policy 2030 are our roadmaps, and they only work if we walk them together. So let us move forward, not as departments or titles, but as partners in nation building. To the young minds in this room, students, interns, early career professionals, you are the architects of tomorrow. My advice to you, be curious, be bold, be ethical. Let technology be your tool, but let empathy be your compass. Yesterday, architect Saifuddin, in his paper, mentioned that people will not, AI will, people not using AI will be displaced. That was his message. So if you are not using AI, human using AI, you will not be displaced. But if you don't use AI, you will be displaced. I think that was a strong message that was given at the conference yesterday. Do not see construction as a man's industry. See it as a human industry, one that needs your talent, your ideas, and your leadership. So in closing, ladies and gentlemen, the future of construction is not just about steel and cement, it's about people and purpose. It is about creating an industry that is smart, sustainable, and inclusive, where every woman and man can rise, lead, and leave a legacy. So let us build not just infrastructure, but inspiration. Not just projects, but possibilities. Not just success, but significance. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Madam Zainura Zainal, Chief Executive of CIDB Malaysia. Now, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's just timely for me to link the powerful words that Madam Zainora has said in her speech, because 2 years ago, maybe approximately 2 years ago, our Deputy Minister, YB, had also said in his speech the two strong traits of women that led them to success are diligence and loyalty. YB has said that in a former women conference before. So, if we combine all these excellent traits together, it's limitless for women. So, without further ado, it is with great honor for me to invite Yang Berhormat Datuk Sri Dr. Haji Ahmad bin Maslan, our guest of honor, the Deputy Minister of Works Malaysia, to deliver his officiating speech. Yang Berhormat Datuk Sri.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, salam perpaduan, salam Malaysia Madani. Saudari pengacara majlis, Puan Zainora Zainal, Chief Executive of CIDB Malaysia, Datuk Arkitek Nafis Sahradin, President of WIBM, Arkitek Siti Rozai Marianti, Datuk Haji Abdul Rahman, Secretary General of ASEAN Interparliamentary Assembly, Datuk Arkitek IDR Azman Hashim, Timbalan Ketua Pengarah JKR, Profesor Emerita Tan Sri Datuk Sri Dr. Sharifah Hafsah, President of National Council of Women's Organization, Tan Sri Abdul Wahid Omar, Mantan Menteri, Monica Indriasari, Director Urban Landscape Designer from Indonesia. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to be here this morning to officiate the Women Way Forward Conference 2025 under the theme Shaping Tomorrow, Building Success. Today's gathering reflects a powerful truth that the future of Malaysia's construction industry is not only built on bricks and steel, but on vision, talent, and inclusivity. Allow me to extend my heartfelt congratulations to WIBM, supported by CIDB Malaysia, for their dedication in organizing this meaningful and timely conference. My appreciation also goes to our valued partners, MITEC Kuala Lumpur and Build Expo Exhibition, for their contributions. This conference is a testament to our shared commitment to accelerate women's leadership in the built environment through strategic initiatives in career advancement, mentorship, and skills development. Ladies and gentlemen, in every field, education, health, entrepreneurship, and now in the construction industry, Malaysian women continue to break barriers and redefine leadership. You are engineers, innovators, designers, directors, entrepreneurs, and educators. At the Ministry of Works, we deeply recognize and value the growing contribution of women professionals across the entire construction ecosystem. Your participation is not symbolic, it is strategic, because empowering women is not merely an act of national strength, a catalyst for greater innovation, resilience, and excellence. The construction sector remains one of the key pillars of Malaysia's economic growth, contributing close to 4% of GDP and supporting hundreds of thousands of livelihoods. But the landscape is rapidly evolving, driven by digitalization, sustainability, and ESG, principles that are reshaping the way we design, build, and live. In this transformation, women must not be left behind. Instead, you must be at the forefront, leading, influencing, and inspiring change. Through CIDB's Construction 4.0 strategic plan and the National Construction Policy 2030, we are building a future that is not only technology-driven, but also inclusive, ensuring that opportunities are open to all, regardless of gender, background, or position. I'm confident that through platforms such as Women Way Forward, we are not only celebrating accomplishments, we are cultivating a generation of future leaders. This conference brings together trailblazing women who are reshaping policy, leading major infrastructure projects, transforming education, and redefining leadership in business, finance, and technology. It reflects the true spirit of collaboration, courage, and continuous change, values that will drive Malaysia forward towards a more equitable, innovative, and compassionate society. As we look to the future, let us remember this. Every structure we build must stand as a symbol of progress, equality, and sustainability. Let us build not only cities and bridges, but a culture that uplifts and amplifies women's voices in boardrooms, classrooms, construction sites, and beyond. May today's discussions spark new partnerships, bold ideas, and meaningful action that will transform the future of our industry and our nation. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, saya bertanya kepada organizer, berapa orang peserta daripada luar. Mereka kata tiada. Yang ada 3 orang speakers, seorang daripada Indonesia yang faham bahasa Melayu, seorang daripada Brunei yang faham bahasa Melayu, dan seorang daripada Singapura yang juga faham bahasa Melayu. Jadi saya ingin meneruskan ucapan saya dalam bahasa Melayu. Saudara-saudari sekalian, angka yang ada pada saya, di tangan saya pada tahun 2023, jumlah guru di negara kita ini 67.4% adalah wanita, 32.6% lelaki. Wanita jauh lebih ramai pendidik dalam negara kita, 67.4%. Tapi di sini tak adalah sebab mereka di sekolah. Kemudian saya juga menyelidiki sedikit doktor. Doktor wanita 53%, lelaki 47%, oleh itu doktor adalah lebih ramai daripada doktor wanita daripada doktor lelaki. Sekali lagi mereka tak ada dalam dewan ini, mereka di hospital, klinik. Ada. Kemudian di Universiti Malaysia, 59.7% hingga 61.5% adalah siswi. Kira 60% siswi, 40% siswa. Jadi wanita lebih ramai di universiti. Tetapi sebagaimana yang Puan Zainura sebut tadi, di construction industry, industri pembinaan, lebih ramai lelaki. Jauh lebih ramai lelaki. Jadi kita yang hadir dalam dewan ini, sebahagian kita adalah contractors, sebahagian kita adalah QS, sebahagian kita adalah arkitek, begitu juga construction managers, yang ada kaitan juga accountant mungkin, peguam mungkin, suppliers, software and IT managers agaknya yang ada di dalam dewan ini yang terlibat dalam pembinaan. Kami di Kementerian Kerja Raya, di CIDB, itu sebab sebagaimana Puan Zainura sebut, Ketua Eksekutif pertama CIDB wanita adalah beliau. Sebagaimana negara Jepun begitu lama wujud, kali pertama Perdana Menterinya wanita. Di Amerika belum ada, di Malaysia tak tahu bila. Jadi saudara sekalian, ini saya telah melihat tadi dalam senarai bilioner di negara kita, daripada senarai Forbes. Senarai bilioner Forbes, ada seorang wanita, itu pun 2017, Puan Sri Chong Chuk Yu daripada Selangor Properties Berhad, 285 juta US dollar, isteri kepada Tan Sri Datuk Wen Tian Kuang yang telah meninggal, Datuk ini, Tan Sri ini, dan istrinya yang menguasai Selangor Properties Berhad. Itu satu-satunya senarai bilioner wanita di Malaysia. Yang lain lelaki belaka. Ya. Jadi saudara, puan-puan begitu banyak lagi yang boleh dilakukan oleh puan-puan untuk menguasai sebahagian daripada ekonomi negara kita. Dan wanita boleh melakukan, dan saya yakin wanita dalam dewan ini adalah antara wanita-wanita yang kehadapan dalam sektor keusahawanan. Tahniahlah kerana hadir dan mencari ilmu lagi pada hari ini. Sebagaimana Siti Khadijah binti Khuwailid ada dalam Wikipedia. Ahmad Maslan ada dalam Wikipedia, ya. Saudari boleh lihatlah di situ. Kalau saudari tak masuk lagi dalam Wikipedia, cubalah masukkan diri dalam Wikipedia, kerana nak masuk tu tentu adalah orang somebody baru boleh masuk. Siti Khadijah binti Khuwailid ada dalam Wikipedia. Ketika baginda berumur 40 tahun, baginda meminang Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam yang berumur 25 tahun. Beliau adalah janda kaya. Dan dalam Wikipedia yang ditulis tentang Siti Khadijah berbunyi begini, ya. Okey, sebentar. Mana tadi? Okey. Cari sampai jumpa, ya. Khadijah binti Khuwailid was the first wife of Muhammad, born into an aristocratic clan of the Quraysh. She was an affluent merchant in her own right and was known to have a noble personality within her tribe. She employed Muhammad to manage a trade caravan to Syria and, impressed by his skills, subsequently offered him marriage, which he accepted. Itu pembukaan dalam Wikipedia Khadijah binti Khuwailid. Tetapi cerita Khadijah binti Khuwailid dan Muhammad berniaga umur 40-15 ini apabila diceritakan oleh ustaz-ustaz kita dalam kuliah-kuliah agama, wanita boleh melamar lelaki. Itu kesimpulan yang ustaz-ustaz kita ajar. Dan jadilah seperti Muhammad Al-Amin yang amanah melaksanakan perniagaan Siti Khadijah. Sebelum itu rugi perniagaannya, Siti Khadijah bagi kepada orang itu, orang ini, semua rugi. Tapi Muhammad kerana amanah maka untung. Maka ustaz-ustaz kita pun menyebut bahawa jadilah seperti Muhammad, seorang yang amanah. Apakah kekurangan daripada pengajaran ustaz-ustaz kita itu? Satu kekurangan yang amat besar yang menyebabkan negara kita tidak seperti sepatutnya. Malaysia ini 70.1% bumi putera, 22.6% China, 6.6% India, 0.7% lain-lain. Itu komposisi. Tetapi 22.6% itu menguasai ekonomi. Kerana pendidikan yang diajar oleh ustaz-ustaz kita yang tidak sempurna. Sepatutnya jadilah seperti Khadijah, seorang yang kaya raya. Jadilah seperti Muhammad, seorang usahawan. Jadilah 9 daripada 10 punca kekayaan daripada harta perniagaan, hadis Nabi. Jadilah 9 daripada 10 sahabat Nabi yang dijamin masuk surga adalah usahawan. Tetapi tidak sampai perkara itu pada orang Melayu Islam di Malaysia, lantas kita tidak memilih usahawan sebagai pekerjaan, tetapi makan gaji sebagai pekerjaan. Oleh itu, saudara sekalian, mudah-mudahan kita akan menukar persepsi diri kita sebagai wanita. Bukan hanya ada tudung Siti Khadijah, bukan hanya ada pasar Siti Khadijah, tapi kita yang menjadi Siti Khadijah, ya, seumpama Siti Khadijah yang kaya raya. Bukan untuk kita umur 40 melamar 25, bukan, ya. Tapi untuk kita kaya raya, ya, untuk menjadi usahawan wanita, sebagaimana yang kita harapkan dalam konferensi ini. Bukan hanya sebagai contractors, suppliers, accountant, lawyers, construction managers, architect, engineers, QS, tetapi kita sebagai usahawan yang pelbagai bidang. Saya pernah menyebut baru ini dalam pertemuan dengan siswa-siswi yang mengambil bidang alam bina, ya, jurutera architect, QS, engineers, mengenai apakah peluang di hadapan kita? Peluang yang pertama ialah pada tahun hadapan 470 bilion apa yang dipanggil sebagai belanjawan 2026, 338 bilion OE itu kita hanya terlibat secara tidak langsung apabila dibayar gaji kepada 1.61 juta penjawat awam, maka kita yang menjual barang dapatlah menjualnya dengan gaji-gaji 338 bilion ringgit OE itu. Tetapi pada tahun hadapan ada DE, Development Expenditure, bukan Operating Expenditure, Development Expenditure, 81 bilion ringgit pada tahun hadapan yang merupakan pembinaan. Bina bangunan, bina jambatan, bina jalan, bina membaiki cerun. Itu antara kerja-kerja di kementerian kita. Dan di seluruh 28 kementerian, 81 bilion development expenditure untuk puan-puan ambil peluang itu. Untuk 5 tahun yang akan datang pada kita yang dalam Dewan ini, lihat dokumen Rancangan Malaysia ke-13. Di situ ada DE, Development Expenditure, 611 bilion. Kita boleh jadi bilioner kalau kita dapat sebahagian 1 bilion daripada 611 bilion itu. Kita boleh jadi bilioner. Daripada 611 bilion Rancangan Malaysia ke-13, 5 tahun, 2026, 2030, 430 bilion DE daripada kerajaan, Development Expenditure daripada kerajaan, 120 bilion DE, Development Expenditure daripada GLC, Government Link Companies and Government Link Investment Companies, GLCs and GLICs, 61 billion PPP, PFI. Itu semua adalah perkara yang pasti, terutama 430 billion development expenditure yang akan dibelanjakan dalam tempoh 5 tahun yang akan datang. Kenapakah usahawan bukan Bumiputera sahaja yang menjadi bilioner? Daripada 50 orang top billionaires in Malaysia, 3 Melayu, 3 India, 1 Siam, 43 Cina. Daripada 50 bilioner itu, nombor 11 Tan Sri Al-Bukhari, ya, Syed Mokhtar, Tan Sri Syed Mokhtar, nombor 11. Nombor 23 Tan Sri Azman Hashim, nombor 26 Tan Sri Syed Azman Syed Ibrahim. 2 daripada Kedah, Syed Mokhtar dan Syed Azman Hashim, daripada negeri mana? Selangor. Saudara sekalian, itu sahaja 3 Bumiputera daripada 50 top billionaires in Malaysia. 3 India, Ananda Krishnan, nombor 6, dah meninggal pun, ya. Dan anak-anaknya, seorang anaknya yang perempuan lah agaknya, sebab seorang lagi anaknya Sami Buddha, ya. Dan siapa lagi? Tan Sri ada 2 lagi India dan 1 orang Siam, Surin namanya. Yang lain semua Cina, tuan-tuan perempuan, kerana mereka yang mengamalkan 9 daripada 10 punca kekayaan daripada harta perniagaan. Mereka yang mengamalkan hadis Nabi itu, bukan orang Islam, orang Melayu Malaysia yang mengamalkan. Mereka yang tahu 9 daripada 10 sahabat Nabi yang dijamin masuk syurga adalah usahawan. Mereka yang tahu cerita itu, orang Melayu, orang Islam macam tidak tahu. Mereka yang tahu bahawa ada jutawan, hartawan, umur 40 tahun, wanita zaman Nabi. Mereka juga tahu bahawa Nabi bukan hanya seorang Nabi, bukan hanya seorang Rasul, bukan hanya seorang pemimpin, bukan hanya seorang panglima perang, bukan hanya seorang guru, ilmuwan, tetapi Nabi juga adalah seorang usahawan. Mereka tahu, tapi orang Melayu Islam tidak tahu tentang perkara itu. Maka saya hari ini memberitahu pada puan-puan agar puan-puan menjadi usahawan, agar puan-puan berjaya dalam kehidupan menjadi bangsa usahawan. Itulah yang ingin saya sampaikan pada hari ini daripada lubuk hati saya. Ya, mudah-mudahan kita semua berubah, bangsa kita akan berubah, dan mudah-mudahan dengan bangsa kita yang berubah itu kita boleh menguasai ekonomi. Saudara boleh menguasai ilmu ini dalam pelbagai bahasa. Bahasa Inggeris tadi saudara-saudari boleh mendalami ilmu perniagaan. Dalam bahasa-bahasa Mandarin misalnya boleh, bahasa Arab boleh, bukan hanya satu bahasa Inggeris. So, saudara boleh menggunakan pelbagai bahasa untuk mencari ilmu perniagaan, asalkan kita kaya, tak kiralah bahasa apa pun. Ya. Yang penting kita dapat hasil apa yang ingin kita laksanakan itu. Saya mencari sesuatu, tak lain dan tak bukan pantun. Ya. Kadang-kadang orang hanya melihat ahli politik ini hitam putih, politician biasa. Saya politician yang agak lain sedikit, ahli politik yang suka berpantun, ahli politik yang suka memasak nasi goreng Ahmad Maslan atau ringkasan yang ngam. Nasi goreng Ahmad Maslan atau ringkasan yang ngam. NGAM, nasi goreng Ahmad Maslan. Sebab saya tak main golf, ya. Saya tak main golf, saya tak ada motor besar, saya tak ada kereta antik. Saya hanya ada masa kosong, masak nasi goreng. Ini dia. Tinta bukan sebarang tinta, tinta tulisan merakam jasa. Wanita bukan sebarang wanita, wanita usahawan luar biasa. Bertukar waktu malam ke siang, hilang duka berputik cinta. Wanita itu bonda tersayang, tanpa mereka tiadalah kita. Mengejar waktu kota dan desa, hilang penat letih dibuang. Wanita itu luar biasa, kerja semangat, setia berjuang. Terima kasih. Saya dengan ini, dengan lafaz mulia Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, merasmikan program kita Women Way Forward Conference 2025. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you very much. Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Dr. Haji Ahmad bin Maslan, Deputy Minister of Works, we would like to request for Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri to remain on stage. And joining him, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite Yang Berbahagia, Datuk Architect Nafisa Radin and Madam Zainora Zainal for us to proceed with the official launch of Women Way Forward Conference 2025. Our dignitaries will now make their way to the launch cube. And this is when we would like your participation as well, as we will do a countdown. And now we would like to invite Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri AR Datuk Nafisa and Madam Zainora to place your palms on the launch cube. Or we would like to invite our dignitaries from the main table. Tan Sri Wahid Omar, Tan Sri Syafaq Absar, Dato' Azman, AR Siti Azmiati, we would like to request you also to make your way to the main stage. We are about to witness the exciting launch of Women Way Forward Conference 2025. YB not only shared some exciting numbers, he also has opened up the challenge to be better at pantun, ladies and gentlemen. All right, if everyone is ready, we would like to invite YB Datuk Sri and our dignitaries to place their palms on the launch cube. Ladies and gentlemen, let's join me in counting down from 3, 2, and 1. Shaping tomorrow, building success, ladies and gentlemen. Shaping tomorrow, building success, calling out for women leaders to inspire and empower. We would like to give a couple of seconds for our members of the media for their photo and video coverage. We would like to request our dignitaries to remain on stage as we give a couple of seconds for our press members for their photo and video opportunity. So as of now, our cameramen and videographers are arranging the positioning and completing their coverage. Thank you again, Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri and our dignitaries for successfully launching Women Way Forward Conference 2025, Shaping Tomorrow, Building Success. All right, if we're ready for a group photo with Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Dr. Haji Ahmad Maslan, Deputy Minister of Works, and our esteemed dignitaries joining us today at Women Way Forward Conference 2025. We will be hearing from our speakers shortly. Thank you very much. We would like to request Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Maslan to remain on stage. Our dignitaries are welcome back to their seats. And Madam Zainora and Dato' A.R. Nafisa to remain on stage for the next session of our memento presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, now a special moment where, as a symbol of a token of appreciation, a presentation of memento from Yang Berbahagia Dato' A.R. Nafisa Radin to our guest of honor. Terima kasih sekali lagi. Thank you very much, YB Datuk Seri, for always supporting and imparting your wisdom, always motivating women and men. We're looking forward to have a successful conference, and another token of appreciation from Yang Berbahagia Dato' A.R. Nafisa to our esteemed Madam Chairman, Madam CEO of CIDB, Madam Zainora Zainal, to amazing, outstanding ladies, remarkable success stories they've paved in the past and continue to create in the future. A couple of seconds more for our members of the media to complete their photo coverage. And now we would like to invite our guests of honor and Dato' Nafisa and Madam Zainora back to their seats. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we need your involvement, as we would like to invite our members of the media on the stage as we are about to take a giant selfie. So we would like to request all of our delegates to rise and make your way around the VIP table. Jadi kita nak mohon para delegasi bangun dan ambil tempat di belakang meja VIP. As we are about to take a group selfie, 350 delegates joining us for Women Way Forward Conference 2025. So I will hand over the session to our press members who are already on stage, and they will be giving you the guideline as to where to take your positions for you to have the perfect group selfie for WWF 2025. We have a lineup of really empowering, exciting topics with esteemed, renowned speakers joining us today for Women Way Forward Conference 2025. We will be talking about women's leadership in education and policy reform. Okay, let's give the cue to our members of the media. Will we have a short video as well? Okay, please stand by for the video.
I have go snack, please. Okay. Okay, now for Woman Way Forward video, we want everybody to shout, Woman Way Forward. Okay, on count of, okay, video? Okay. 3, 2, 1. Woman Way Forward.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again to Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri for officiating Women Way Forward Conference 2025. Thank you to our dignitaries for joining us. And now, Yang Berbahagia Datuk R. Nafisa and Madam Zainora and our dignitaries will accompany Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri to visit the exhibition booths outside. And we will reconvene here at 10:45 a.m. to begin our first session. Don't forget, to be here 5 minutes earlier before we start at 10:35 p.m. 10:35 a.m. And in the meantime, Dato' AR will be accompanying YB to the exhibition booths. Once again, thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. We're looking forward to begin our first session at 10:45 a.m. Please enjoy some refreshments that have been positioned on the side of the ballroom. And an announcement we would like to share with everyone today. We would like to call upon Puan Norita from Majlis Daerah Sepang to come to the help desk to gather your documents. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, there's an announcement I would like to share with everyone here this morning. Will these names that we announce make your way to the help desk for the signature of HRD Corps forms, starting with Ms. Suwei Tan, IR Kamsah binti Rais, Ms. Chia Siot Teng, Puan Nurzihan binti Ibrahim, AR Yiziyu, Puan Chow Pui Teng, Puan Wan Mastura binti Wan Raja, AR Sharifah Nur Amira binti Said Muhammad Radi, Ms. Nazifa binti Muhammad Abdullah, Puan Anita Devi Premchand, Encik Muhammad Zihan bin Muhammad Nin, Puan Zarina binti Baharudin. All these names, we would like to invite you to make your way to the help desk for your HRD Corp form signature. Thank you.
For 5 decades now,
Once again, thank you very much, Mr. Mazli Hassan. Tepukan untuk Mr. Mazli Hassan, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause to him. Thank you so much for gracing the stage. We would like to request for you to divert your attention to the main screen here on the main stage, as we are proud to share a special message from our silver sponsor of SP Satya.
For 5 decades now, we see a space for what it could be, to inspire a more fulfilling life. We shape spaces that inspire and recharge, to sustain new curiosities, discoveries, and abilities. We shape spaces that help you focus, find balance, and reconnect with your inner child. Because a well-designed space inspires a better life, where every facet inspires a new possibility. 50 years on, we'll keep shaping spaces that shape all of us.
Dari visi membina sebuah pusat pentadbiran kerajaan baharu yang moden dan terancang, Ladang Perang Besar telah dipilih sebagai tapak pembangunan Putrajaya meliputi kawasan seluas 12,184 ekar. Pada 19 Oktober 1995, lahirlah Putrajaya Holdings dengan mandat sebagai pemaju utama yang bertanggungjawab merancang dan membangunkan bandar pentadbiran kerajaan yang baharu untuk Malaysia. Dalam fasa awal pembangunannya, PJH berjaya membina infrastruktur utama yang menjadi nadi bandar ini, dari jaringan jalan raya dan jambatan-jambatan ikonik hingga pelbagai kemudahan awam seperti taman riadat, hospital, sekolah, balai bomba dan balai polis. Keutuhan tanggungjawab ini terbukti apabila 77 bangunan pejabat kerajaan diserahkan kepada kerajaan dengan sempurna dan lebih 22,000 unit kuartus kerajaan siap dibina dengan selesa dan berkualiti. Fasa ini turut diperkasa dengan pembangunan 6 loji pendinginan berpusat, gas district cooling, bagi mencipta bandar yang ceria, inklusif dan berdaya huni. PJH melangkah ke fasa pembangunan komersial dan kediaman awam meliputi tanah seluas 1,239 ekar. Fasa ini menyaksikan pembinaan lebih 10,000 unit kediaman awam yang menyediakan rumah berkualiti untuk ribuan penduduk, pusat beli belah seperti Alamanda dan bangunan pejabat yang menggerakkan ekonomi, hotel serta kemudahan hospitality untuk komuniti dan pelancongan, institusi pendidikan serta infrastruktur sosial yang memperkukuh pembangunan ilmu dan masyarakat. Putrajaya Holdings juga dalam proses membangunkan hospital swasta di Precinct 7 sebagai satu lagi usaha strategik memenuhi keperluan penduduk yang semakin meningkat. Sebagai pemaju utama Putrajaya, Putrajaya Holdings terus berganding erat dengan Perbadanan Putrajaya dalam memperkasa aspek sosioekonomi dan sosio-budaya. Sebagai pemaju utama yang bertanggungjawab, PJH juga telah menyokong inisiatif kerajaan melaksanakan kios sentuhan madani untuk kemudahan pelbagai lapisan masyarakat dan menambah baik perkhidmatan awam. Di samping itu, PJH juga terus menyokong inisiatif tanggungjawab sosial sebagai pemaju yang prihatin dan berjiwa esa. 3 dekad kejayaan Putrajaya Holdings tidak mungkin tercapai tanpa dedikasi kaki tangan, nadi penggerak yang memastikan PJH terus maju, dipacu kepimpinan berwawasan dalam membina Putrajaya sebagai bandar moden yang hijau dan lestari. Sepanjang perjalanan ini, Putrajaya Holdings telah menerima pelbagai anugerah dan pengiktirafan, mencerminkan keunggulan dan dedikasi sebagai pemaju utama Putrajaya. Dari pembangunan infrastruktur ke komersial dan kini menuju kota madani, Putrajaya Holdings telah membina sebuah bandar yang menjadi simbol kebanggaan, harapan dan kesejahteraan. 30 tahun membina warisan, melakar masa hadapan. Putrajaya Holdings, pemaju utama Putrajaya, alamat terbaik di Malaysia.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are now ready to begin our first session. Our first speaker is an icon that needs no introduction. But however, we are very, very proud to introduce him, as he is widely recognized as one of Malaysia's most accomplished corporate leaders with an illustrious career spanning government, corporate and non-profit sectors. He is currently the chairman of SciPark Resources Berhad, a renewable energy leader, and senior independent director of IOI Corporation Berhad. Previously served as minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Economic Planning from 2013 to 2016, chairman of Bursa Malaysia, group chairman of Permodalan Nasional Berhad PNB. And in the CEO helm, he successfully transformed 3 major organizations, UEM Group, Telekom Malaysia and Maybank, establishing Maybank as a regional banking powerhouse and global Islamic finance leader. And today, he also chairs WWF Malaysia and the MySDG Foundation, serves as Pro-Chancellor of University Science Islam Malaysia, Professor of Practice at INSEF University, and Visiting Fellow at the Oxford Center for Islamic Studies. Recently won the 2025 Saleh Kamel Islamic Economic Awards, recognizing his contributions to Islamic finance. Ladies and gentlemen, one of Malaysia's most iconic leaders, sharing his insights on leadership and economic transformation, building Malaysia's future. Please give a round of applause, welcoming Yang Berbahagia, Tan Sri Abdul Wahid Omar.
Thank you, Zalha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good morning, everyone. Let me begin by thanking WIBM for inviting me to be here this morning to spend about half an hour with you to talk about leadership and economic transformation, building Malaysia's future. Now, I must say that under normal circumstances, a man would be intimidated when he's surrounded by so many ladies here. But I guess probably slightly different for me because I'm actually used to being surrounded by women. With my father's passing in January this year, our household of 5 is now made up of my mother, my wife, and my 2 daughters and me. So I'm the minority in my household. And likewise, at SciPark Resources Berhad, we have a lady CEO in Dato' Amy Morris. So again, being part of a lady is actually not that unusual for me. So be that as you may, let me share with you the 3 areas which I thought would be relevant for me to cover in this half an hour that I have. If I may have my slide, please. Right. So I'll divide my talk in 3 parts. First, I'll be sharing with you my personal journey and what are the leadership lessons learned. Secondly, to talk about the building Malaysia's future, our Malaysia's economic transformation. And the third is about the way forward in terms of what we as citizens can do for Malaysia. Now, let me begin by my own journey. I must say that I've been very fortunate. I was born as the 9th child in a family of 11 siblings, and we were actually quite poor. But we were fortunate because we had the new economic policy at that point in time, with one of the aims being taking families out of poverty by giving the children good education. So Alhamdulillah, at the age of 13, I was fortunate to be given the opportunity to go into MRSM Seremban. And that means that from the age of 13, I've been an anak mara, and thereafter given scholarship to do A-levels and later ACCA in the UK. Now, this is a photo of me on the day of departure, and indeed, I'm truly grateful to Mara for all the support to me as a person and to family, and I'm not alone. There are thousands others. So in case you're wondering which one is me, I'm actually the one in the middle. That person in the middle. Well, yeah, the lessons learned here is that if you want to keep your hair, don't go into accountancy. So, indeed, I chose accountancy as a profession. Why? Because when I was younger, when I asked the seniors which profession would make a lot of money, so I was told that accountants make a lot of money. So only later that I learned that some engineers in construction industry actually make a lot more money. But that's okay. Now, as an accountant, my ambition was to be the chief financial officer of a major public listed company. And Alhamdulillah, back in March 2001, I was invited to join Telkom Malaysia as the CFO. And to me, that's actually very much mission accomplished. And I never imagined to be a CEO of 3 major organizations. And the first one being the CEO of Group when I was 37 years old. Now, this is actually my first exposure into the building industry. Now, just to be clear, accountants don't know how to run a construction job and so on. But that wasn't the forte that they were looking for me. So my role was to undertake or spearhead the turnaround of Group to actually make it viable from a corporate restructuring perspective, basically. But I must say that this is actually where I got the opportunity to meet with so many people, so many engineers in that industry. That included people like Datuk Nick Arena, who's currently at Plus, and many other women engineers, very talented people at Group. Now, after the job was done at Group, I was asked to go back to Telkom Malaysia as part of the larger transformation of Telkom Malaysia to be a regional telco with particular emphasis on mobile communications, until a decision was made to separate Axiata from Telkom Malaysia, and so that Telkom Malaysia can be made to focus on the development of high-speed broadband network in Malaysia in partnership with the government, and Axiata was allowed to spearhead expansion into the Asian region. Now, Alhamdulillah, that was completed in 2008, and as I was executing the demerger exercise, I was approached by Maybank to spearhead the transformation of Maybank into a regional banking group. And at that point in time, Maybank had entered into acquisition of banks in Vietnam, Pakistan, and Indonesia in particular as part of that positioning. And today, Maybank has presence in all the 10 ASEAN countries. Not the 11th yet, so we have a new member of ASEAN, as you know, Timor-Leste, but in all the 10 ASEAN countries in Asia. So, Alhamdulillah, I must say that when we go back to purpose, where we developed the mission of humanizing financial services, and we implemented the Islamic First strategy, and that has transformed Maybank to be a regional bank, and also recognized as a global leader in Islamic finance. So this is something which I will keep on emphasizing, that when you lead an organization, the leader must actually embrace the purpose and follow it with good strategy and execution. In the context of humanizing financial services, what do we mean by that? Well, it's about providing people with convenient access to financing. It's about giving them fair terms and pricing. It's about advising our clients based on their needs rather than how much money we can make. And it's also about being at the heart of the community, both the business and the people community. Now, one of the challenges that we had at Maybank was the source of our income. Now, as Muslims, naturally, when I moved from Telkom Malaysia to Maybank, some family members expressed concern about the source of income being mainly from riba activities. So that's actually when our colleagues and I, we developed this approach of Islamic First strategy. Our mission then was that, what if we can promote Islamic banking such that one day Islamic banking or Sharia banking will make up the majority of the business in Maybank and later in Malaysia too. So that's when we developed this strategy where whenever people go to the branch to ask for services, whether to open an account or to take financing, automatically we'll be giving them Sharia compliant financing. And Alhamdulillah, with this strategy, majority of the customers will actually accept it, including non-Muslim customers. And today, that has resulted in Maybank Islamic becoming the largest Islamic bank in Malaysia, 3 times bigger than Bank Islam. And it is also the 5th largest Islamic bank in the world and recognized as a global leader in Islamic finance. And Alhamdulillah, today, 70% of Maybank's financing in Malaysia is already Sharia compliant. And that has also encouraged other banks to implement similar strategy of Islamic First. And that has resulted in the total Sharia financing in Malaysia making up 46% of the total financing in Malaysia. So I think, inshallah, over the next couple of years, we'll see that figure of 46% increasing to 50%. Now, having worked so hard at Maybank, I must say that I wanted to retire because Maybank was my 3rd job as a CEO, and Alhamdulillah, life was good. After working so hard, between 12 to 16 hours a day, and we were getting actually good bonuses and so on, and I didn't want to go anywhere until I was called to meet with the Prime Minister one morning in June 2013, and I was asked actually to join the cabinet. Now, as someone who had benefited from government scholarship, I felt compelled to do national service, and I said yes, on condition that I only serve for 1 term as a senator of 3 years. And Alhamdulillah, I was brought into the cabinet as minister in the finance, in the Prime Minister's department in charge of economic planning, and my role in government was to bring private sector's perspective into government and to support government to implement important policies which may not be popular. So things like fiscal consolidation, subsidy rationalization, implementation of GST as part of the efforts to widen the revenue base of the government and so on. So I must say that it was an action-packed 3 years in cabinet, including presenting the 11th mission plan, as well as tabling 3 bills in parliament. So to me, this is something, an experience which money cannot buy. Now, upon my completion of 3 years as a senator, I went back to the corporate sector, and I must say I was privileged to be appointed as the group chairman of PNB. Now, apart from improving the returns of PNB, so Alhamdulillah, we were able to actually do that. So we generated, among others, 26% return on our strategic companies, which is actually double the return on KLCI at that point in time. So apart from those financial numbers, one important thing that we addressed was the Sharia status of investments in ESB and ASN. So at that point in time, although the National Fatwa Committee, Muzakarah Kebangsaan Hal Ehwal Agama Islam, had already issued a fatwa that investment in ESB is actually harus or permissible, there were 2 states that did not recognize that, Selangor and Pulau Pinang. And they felt that the portfolio wasn't good enough to be recognized as harus. So we needed to actually address that immediately. So Alhamdulillah, we refined our portfolio, improved and increased the Sharia component, and later we were able to convince the fatwa committees of Selangor as well as Penang to issue the harus fatwa. So Alhamdulillah, that was actually achieved in 2017. Now, I've just retired from Bursa Malaysia 5 months ago, and it was a privilege to serve Bursa Malaysia for 5 years. Again, I would say that apart from addressing the market challenges, the volatility, and improving the returns, one of the mainstay was to really going back to purpose. And Bursa Malaysia, the stock exchange, as purpose, we are the marketplace where businesses of all shapes and sizes would come to the market to raise capital for them to be able to expand. Now, that means that we just don't deal with the larger companies, but also the medium-sized and the small ones. So that's why we have the main market, the ACE market, as well as the LEAP market to cater for businesses from various sizes. Now, and we also expanded the reach. So there was a time that we wouldn't deal with the potential clients directly, but we will only deal with the investment bankers and the brokers. So that has changed. We're now engaging actively with many of the businesses directly to encourage them to come for listing, and that includes working with the chambers of commerce. And I think the promotion of this approach, making it more accessible and getting the brokers to really target some of the medium-sized companies, has resulted in Bursa Malaysia becoming the preferred platform for IPO, for listing for many companies. So Alhamdulillah, with that, going back to purpose, we were able to make Bursa Malaysia as the most vibrant market in Southeast Asia in 2024, with 55 listings last year. Thank you. And a lot of people say, look, maybe this is just a one-off, 2024. No, the momentum actually continues. And for year-to-date up to September 2025, we have seen 41 listings already this year, compared to Indonesia IDX, we have 23, and SGX, we have 9 listings and so on. And I think Alhamdulillah, so that inshallah will continue. So again, my emphasis here is actually to talk about when you lead an organization, go back to purpose, and I think inshallah you'll become successful. And that's indeed one of the 10 lessons learned for me as a leader. There are many lessons learned, but I thought maybe I can summarize it in 10. The first is really important for we as leaders to really go back to purpose. So believe in purpose, do good, inshallah, you'll be successful and you gain barakah, inshallah. Secondly, it is important for all of us to truly embrace the 3 key qualities of being a good and effective leader. There are many, but I tend to focus on the top 3. Integrity, competence, and humility. Integrity, as you know, is about doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. In simple terms, please don't cheat, don't steal, don't lie, don't take bribes, don't give bribes, right? So I think construction industry at one time was notorious with the reputation of bribing people and taking bribes. So I think that should be a thing of the past already. So again, integrity. The second element is competence. Competence is about having the right skills and knowledge to do the job well, and that includes continuous leading, which we'll come back to that a bit later. And the third element is humility. And this is probably the least spoken about. And what do we mean by humility? Well, humility is about treating people with mutual respect. It's about staying grounded to your roots. It's about knowing that we all live in this world for a greater purpose in life, rather than our self-interest. And humility is also knowing that we do not know everything, and we need teamwork in order to succeed. So, if you're competent, you have integrity, and you have humility, and you work hard, I think inshallah you'll be successful. And indeed, and that brings me to the third point here, is about the need to work hard and to work smart. Working smart alone is not enough, because there are so many other people who are smarter than you are. Working hard without proper planning is also useless. So you need to actually combine both of them. And never stop learning. And please, use technology to your advantage. Whether it's big data analytics, and of course today, we have the benefit of AI. So AI, please use it as a tool for you to improve efficiency, for you to gain access to all the information that's available out there, and to synthesize it, and for you to make decision based on all this available information. Now, again, don't take it 100%, but use it smartly, use it substantially as a tool, and that will actually improve your efficiency because, face it, as human being, it's impossible for us to comb through all the information that's available out there. But AI will be able to comb through the thousands and millions of information out there and synthesize it, and for you to be able to actually make the appropriate decision. So please use AI as a tool for you to be efficient and to arrive at a better decision, inshallah. The fourth is about the need to focus on your task at hand to do it well. And I think, inshallah, when you focus on your task, you do it well, you'll be able to be successful, and your reputation will precede you. Number 5 is about the need to keep innovating and to think outside the box or blue ocean in coming up with solutions. So it doesn't have to be technology per se, it can be your accounting. Don't be overly creative, but I'm referring to actually looking at substance. So for example, there was one time that Maybank had lots of tax credit, and we had to utilize the tax credit by 2013. Otherwise, it would be waived. So what we did was to come up with a dividend reinvestment policy. With that policy, Maybank was able to pay almost 100% of their profits for the year, with the commitment from major shareholder PNB at that point in time to put the money back sorry, I got distracted because someone says I got 5 minutes left. I thought I have half an hour. Sorry, I lost my track now. So basically, with the major shareholders, PNB committed to invest back in Sakti for new shares. So with that, Bank Negara was able to actually approve the payment of the dividends, and everyone actually benefited from that. Again, thinking outside the box. Number 6, about they need to address the fundamentals rather than form. Some people would focus on branding before undertaking any fundamental improvements. Please don't do that, because a form without substance will not get you anywhere. But once you have achieved fundamental improvements, then you can complement it with good branding or rebranding, as the case may be. Number 7, as business people, yes, we want to be a global champion or regional champion. But please bear in mind that no one can be a regional or global champion if your home base is weak, right? Because home base is actually where you have the human capital and when you generate the cash flow for you to be able to invest abroad. So never forget your home market. Number 8 is about the need to truly embrace sustainability, the 3 elements of environmental, social, and governance. So everyone knows about environmental and governance, less spoken about social part. Social equity is about, among others, not undertaking any forced labor and modern slavery for that matter. So that came to light during COVID when a number of our companies were accused of engaging in modern slavery and forced labor through the debt bondage issue. But alhamdulillah, that has come to light, and I think all these companies are addressing those issues. And the other element is about to truly embrace this concept of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So again, please do embrace it, truthfully, if I may. Number 9 is about the need to stay fit and healthy. It is important for you to look after your health. I've gone through 4 angioplasty procedures, and that's not helpful. Please look after your health. Typically, you're talking about the need to exercise, watch your diet. Diet is not just about the quantity of the food, but the type and the timing of the food. Please, no more late suppers after 11 p.m. and so on. And exercising, keep some time to actually keep fit. And also, make sure that you have the ability to, de-stress yourself, meaning that do things that you like, don't get work get into you, so to speak. So because if you're not healthy, you're not going to be productive for your organization. And once you've retired, in fact, it can be a liability because medical cost is actually is so high. And the last point is about the need to be grateful, to be helpful, to be kind and pleasant. It doesn't cost you anything to be kind and to be pleasant, to help people. When you are kind and pleasant, you're helpful to people, people will like to actually work with you and they will support you in everything that you want to do. So that's actually the leadership lessons learned. Now, if I may perhaps quickly get into the second part about building the future for our economic transformation. I think for Malaysia and any other countries, from the start, we, Malaysia, we have always wanted to be a country that's prosperous, that's inclusive when no one is left behind, and that's sustainable to the environment, as well as in the way that we manage our finances. From 1971, when we had the new economic policy, to the 2010 of the new economic model, to 2020, when Tun Mahathir at the point in time spoke about the shared prosperity vision, and till today, we have under Prime Minister Dr. Sri Anwar Ibrahim, the Madani Economy Framework. We may call it slightly differently in name, but in substance, it's about promoting the growth in the economy, making Malaysia more prosperous, and making sure that no one's left behind, meaning it's inclusive, and making sure that it's sustainable. So today, in the context of the Madani Economy Framework, we are very clear about wanting to improve our progress for Malaysia to become a leading economy in Asia. And that's what we call to raise the ceiling. And that's supported by the various economic policies and plans, including, among others, for us in the renewable energy space, it's about the National Energy Transition Roadmap, where, among others, we're talking about increasing the renewable energy portion to 70% of our total generated capacity. And apart from raising the ceiling, it's also about the need to raise the floor, and meaning that we want to improve the lives of our people, among others, by increasing the share of wages to the GDP from where we are today at 33.6% to 40% initially, and later to 45%. Now, it's not going to be easy, but it's actually the right thing to do. We must always strive to deliver that by improving productivity and also at the same time raising the floor as well in terms of the minimum wage and so on. So I think many people complain whenever government implements the increase in minimum wage, they always complain that, oh, that's going to increase my cost and so on. Please don't, because I think it is only fair that you pay our people fairly. So the point here today, my view is actually the wage of the people is still very low. The median wage as of March 2025 of workers in the formal sector in Malaysia, meaning there are 6.8 million workers in the private sector, the median wage is only 3,000 ringgit per month, right? So imagine, unthinkable that half of the workers are actually earning only 3,000 ringgit and below. So I think as employers, please don't be stingy with your people. Actually, do your part to actually increase their wages. Of course, that's subject also to them improving their productivity and so on too. Now, when it comes to raising the ceiling, so one of our targets is actually to be the top 30 largest economy in GDP. So for us to be able to move to number 30, we need to know where we are today. So today, we are number 36, and to move to number 30, so we need to actually outpace the others by some 2% per annum. So this is GDP in nominal terms. Today we have about 2 trillion ringgit in terms of our economy, and that's about 484 billion US dollars. And number 30 today is actually Austria at about 559 billion US dollars. So we need, therefore, to outpace the others. So Thailand last year was number 30. They have dropped to number 31. So therefore, we must also be mindful that people below us, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Denmark, and Colombia, they also aspire to actually move up, right? So they will be working hard to beat us as well. So for that to happen, we need to do what we can to grow the economy and outpace others by 2% per annum. Now, before that, the sequence has changed somehow. Now, when you talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, I think this was mentioned in some of the earlier speeches, including YB and Puan Zainora's speech earlier, about promoting the increase in women participation in the economy. Now, in the Madani Economy Framework, there is a target of increasing the female labor force participation rate to 60%. Today, we are at about 56.5%. And my view is actually, I don't think we have a problem of reaching that target of 60% by 2033. In fact, I'm not worried about the female gender. I'm more worried about the boys, the male gender. If you look at the university enrollment, based on my numbers that I saw and my meeting with all the public universities in Malaysia, 2/3 of the enrollment are actually women and only 1/3 men, boys, right? And the girls are doing much better in school and in public universities compared to the boys. So I think we need to actually address this issue. Why is it that boys are not doing as well? So I think look at what's the cause and so on, making sure that everyone, every single person, both male and female, will be given equitable opportunity, good access to education, and thereafter good access to the labor force. So again, 60% I don't think is an issue. And likewise, in the corporate sector, one of the things that we monitor, if I may just go back, is the women participation on the board of public listed companies. Now, this is something that the government overall and SC, Bursa Malaysia, and the entire corporate sector have been working on. And we have set a target of 30% minimum among the top 100 public listed companies. Now, I'm pleased to say that as of October, we have already achieved 34.1% participation, right? So, yeah, thank you. You should clap, because that's actually a good achievement. And as I said, I'm not worried, because it will continue. As we have more and more qualified women getting into the workforce, going up the corporate ladder, and willing to say, yes, I want, not being that shy, as what Puan Zara mentioned. So we need to, it will continue. So it will certainly continue. So I'm actually not worried about that. And I think, inshallah, but one of the things which I want to emphasize here is the need to embrace why we're doing this. It's about diversity, means that no one is actually left behind, because diversity is truly a source of strength for any organization. And today, we only have 8 all-male boards. So hopefully, these companies will address it by bringing more women. At the same time, there's actually one company that has an all-female board, and they shouted, oh, we are now embracing diversity, sustainability, we have all-women board. No, that's wrong. As much as an all-male board is not desired, an all-female board also is not desired. It's about diversity, right? So again, embrace the substance rather than form, which I thought I would emphasize. So again, for me, I think we're okay. So they keep flashing me now, time's up. Okay. Now, one of the reasons why Malaysia will continue to grow, so we grew by 4.4% in the first half of this year. I think the full year to this year, probably about between 4 to 4.5%, and likewise, next year should be between 4 to 4.5%. For Maybank, they are forecasting 4.2% this year growth and 4.1% next year. And one of the reasons why Malaysia is able to continue to grow sustainably, beating the global and many of the other countries, is because we have learned from our past crises. And one of the strategy is about diversification in the structure of our economy, in the export markets that we have, and also in terms of the products and so on. So diversification policy is actually important. Now, we're also fortunate because we have a very solid banking system, 3.7 trillion, and banks are actually very well capitalized, good asset quality, and they continue their role to fund the real economy. And we also have a very diversified and well-functioning capital market. So to the tune of 4 trillion ringgit, made up of equities market, as well as the 2.1 trillion of the fixed income market. And 63% of that is actually Sharia compliant, which is a global leader, I would say. I think it's good that Malaysia continues to pursue regional integration, and beyond ASEAN, it's important for Malaysia to be member of other trade blocs and so on. So I do welcome our participation, for example, in BRICS, and of course also other bilateral regional cooperation. For example, the Johor, Singapore Special Economic Zone. So these are some of the things government is actually pursuing, which should be fully supported. Now, what is it that we should do moving forward? Well, my request to all of us would be to support Malaysia taking a pragmatic approach. So again, maintaining sound fiscal and financial position is really very important, making sure that we don't overborrow, ensure that we have continued trade surplus and continued current account surplus. This year, for example, we are expecting about 1.7% of GDP in terms of our current account surplus, and that's important to lower our fiscal deficit eventual target. So next year, the target is actually 3.5%. This year, expected to be 3.8%, and medium-term target will be to 3%. And that's important. Maintain healthy foreign reserves and be financially as independent as possible. Be as resource independent as possible when it comes to water, energy, food, and so on. And the third is about the need to continue with our diversification policy, which is actually important. Now, one of the important things to also support is the government's move to be a net zero greenhouse gas emissions nation by 2050. Today, we, on a net basis, we emit 115.4 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. That's on account of 365 of gross emissions. But we are fortunate because we have the forest reserves that act as the carbon sink to absorb, right? When you have that, you're able to sequester as much as 215 million tons of carbon on a net basis. So obviously, we need to address the both the emission side and protect our forest cover. At the personal level, my request to all of us would be to truly embrace sustainability at the personal, organizational, and community level. Please comprehend the issue and to embrace sustainability in whatever we do, to make a personal commitment and to also start personally with reducing your waste, reusing and recycle, the 3 Rs if you like, separate household waste if you can, optimize your energy consumption, and if you live in a landed property, please, if you're not done so, install solar panels so that you can generate green power, which is both environmental friendly and giving good returns. Typically, you can get a good 20% return on your investment. And if you can't use public transport, please consider switching from ICE to EV as they become more and more affordable. And whatever it is, as citizens, it is important for all of us to do our respective part, be constructive in our thinking, and always anchor everything based on Rukun Negara. Not just the 5 principles that we have on the left, but I think more importantly, the objectives that we have on the right, which is, at the end of the day, is about making Malaysia a prosperous, inclusive, and sustainable nations. With that, I thank you for your attention. I'm sorry if I've exceeded the half an hour allocated to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Abdul Wahid Omar, for that powerful message, resounding numbers, a drive to keep us working together. Now, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is distinguished academician, policy leader, and a women's advocate. She began her career in medicine and rose to become the first woman vice-chancellor of University Kebangsaan Malaysia, where she transformed the university's global standing. I think you know who this amazing icon is. A president of the National Council of Women's Organization, NCWO, she has championed legal reforms and women's empowerment nationally and internationally. Trusted advisor, WHO, UNESCO, key Malaysian commissions, received multiple national titles, international awards for her contributions to educate, and in her leadership skills and gender equality. Please welcome Yang Berbahagia, Professor Emerita Tan Sri Datuk Sri Dr. Sharifah Hafsah Syed Hassan Shahabuddin, delivering her thoughts on women's leadership in education and policy reform, building inclusive futures. Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri.
Thank you, distinguished guests. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can you hear me? I have a bit of a sore throat, so I had fever, but I told Datuk Nafisah I will still come. Anyway, thank you for inviting me to this conference, and I've been wondering why I have been invited and what do I have in common with women in construction. I thought a lot about it. Finally, I found it. We built. Don't have the lights, please. Do you need the lights? Okay, so today I will reflect on my journey in leadership, and as a hindsight, I will share the lessons I learned so that we can build the way forward for women in leadership. Let me start by saying that women's participation. How do I go backwards? I'll move it myself. Let me start by saying that women's participation in leadership is not a courtesy, not tokenism, nor is it just a question of equality and fairness. It is an imperative. It is vital. It is necessary. I think earlier Puan Zainora said this. It's well known that women's voices in the corridors of power transform the very culture of decision-making and its outcomes. By the way, this is recycled paper, okay? I wanted to show Tan Sri Wahid, we women are very conscious. Greater involvement of women can deliver better growth, more competitiveness, and greater human development. Many studies have shown. Hence, we must confront stubborn obstacles that not only holding women back, but hindering development and prosperity. Let me narrate my journey by highlighting the realities of women's lives. Women, professional women like you and me. Young professional women are always juggling and balancing career with care work. And research shows more than 2/3 of care work is undertaken by women compared to men. ILO reports this. Khazanah, who did research in this country, reports the same. The care work is not just domestic chores, but also simultaneously caring for aging parents and young children. So we are called the sandwich generation. First described by Dorothy Miller in 1981. We care for both. Oops. This dual responsibility of navigating the financial, physical, and emotional needs of two generations can be demanding and stressful when we are climbing the career ladder. The responsibility is compounded when there are special needs individuals, such as the OKU, or children with autism, which is on the rise today. believe me, autism is on the rise. If I ask you all to raise a hand, if you have a child or know somebody with a child with autism, many hands will go up, at least a third. I don't know. Okay. I did not move. I started my journey with great dreams to climb the ladder of medical practice to the rank of consultant in internal medicine. I'd already begun my journey by taking my Part 1 examination. But sometimes it's not moving. Okay. We have to make sacrifices. I was in my internship year when my firstborn was diagnosed with a complex vascular anomaly in the brain. He needed full-time assisted care, constant monitoring, and love. Providing intensive care to a child and trying to cope with clinical work with on-call duties were very nightmarish. So my dreams of pursuing postgrad medical training were paused. I opted out of clinical practice to join academia in a non-clinical discipline so that I can give more time to care for my special needs child and his 2 siblings later. My first lesson. The most painful lesson is that the country is not structured to support caregivers then, during my time, and now, your time. Not emotionally, not financially, and certainly not professionally. Our society is aging, and we are woefully unprepared in services, infrastructure, and mindsets. Care is not a personal burden, but a political good, a public good for social justice and basic right for dignity and well-being of people from cradle to grave. Care is still hidden in the shadows of our economies, carried disproportionately by women, often unpaid and rarely recognized. And care work is preventing women from advancing professionally. Believe me, the care economy is the 3rd largest after the US and China. That realization changed me. As president of NCWO, I made it my mission to shine a light on the care economy. We had many forums, we organized conferences, that strong and sustainable wall that supports the ladder for women to climb upwards in their careers. We need to design systems that see care not as a private problem, but as a public infrastructure issue. Care, alhamdulillah, is now visible in RMK 13 and in budget 2026. I hope to see policy reforms, policy and regulatory reforms. We are working on this, training and certification of caregivers, grants for research to support policy making, tax incentives to support use of technology in caregiving, particularly mobile services to aid aging at home. What happened? Oh, I have to point that side, huh? Okay, now I understand. Today, as I look around this room, I see people who understand this very deeply. People who know that care, whether for children with special needs or for our frail elders, is not an interruption to progress. It is progress. It is not the opposite of ambition. It is the heart of it. So, I will continue with my story. I joined UKM and resolved to do I graduated from but I joined UKM. And resolved to do the best in my new career path. I immersed myself in all academic activities that were required for promotions, as well as to establish an international reputation. After my son's passing, short of his 5th birthday, I began to pursue postgraduate training, which is a must in academia. I embarked on a master's degree, followed by a doctorate in medicine a few years later. And then I rose the academic rank to professor. I expanded my interest into medical education, a very new discipline, and quality assurance locally and internationally. So, second lesson, if you aspire to leadership, don't just equip yourself with knowledge, but master it by educating yourself to the highest level. Power derived from knowledge and expertise is the most respected. Stay curious, I think Tan Sri Wahid said this too, and keep learning, because we need to embrace new technologies, particularly AI, sustainability practices, and leadership innovations to focus on soft skills. Now we need soft skills more and more. I will now share my leadership journey. That was the expertise journey, the content part. In academia, why is it? Okay. In academia, the leadership, you can rise from the low unit or head of department all the way up to be vice chancellor or the CEO. I became vice chancellor, but the journey to the top was not without barriers. The first barrier was when my proposal to establish a department, this was still in the Faculty of Medicine, of medical education, and that's my area, my discipline, my expertise, was rejected by the university administration. Medical education, a new discipline at that time, and I was the only one qualified in the country at that time. On the other hand, my proposal to develop the Department of Family Medicine was accepted. This was a ridiculous situation because both departments, I submitted both, were essential to implement the postgraduate program by distance education as required by the Ministry of Health. This again was a very innovative, the ministry wanted training for their officers, family practitioners, but they did not want to release these people to the universities because then they would be short of staff in the university. So the DG of Health at that time spoke to me and we developed this innovative distance education program. But when you develop one department but not the other, it's difficult to run the program. I did not give up. When the Minister of Education came to officiate the new program, this was Sulaiman, I informed him of the situation. The next day, the university administration received instruction to establish the Department of Medical Education. Today, all medical schools have a Department of Medical Education. Now, did I do the right thing? This is the lesson. Always follow your moral and ethical convictions with competence, integrity, and clarity of purpose. I'm repeating you, Tan Sri Wahid. Every single day. I think I read his mind too. Integrity doesn't mean avoiding difficult choices. He already defined what it was to you. It means making them for the right reasons. Tough decisions weren't always popular, but were right for the university. And I believe in construction, let your values guide every blueprint that you draw and every team that you lead. My next step is a good story. Okay. Over the years, I had built strong academic networks across the globe, which caught the attention of UKM's Vice Chancellor, and that was Shamsani. He offered me a position in the main campus, first as Director of International Relations, and later as Director of Strategic Planning and Development in the main campus. With the VC's strong support, I had great opportunities to work and gain influence with academicians from all disciplines on campus. And in the spirit of collegiality, we developed the first strategic plan for UKM and also restructured the faculties. In the process, I honed in the essential skills such as negotiation, teamwork, problem solving, conflict resolution, and so on. You need all these skills, and you do it by working with people. And the lesson for me was having a good mentor is essential for guidance and support when we are navigating new challenges. I was trained in medicine, not in problem solving and all that, you know, or team building or strategic planning. And when we have to learn new skills and new knowledge for collaboration and to imbue mutual respect. In collaboration, we don't just build structures, we build trust, creativity, and excellence. And this is very important, especially when you have a mentor. Next step. As Director of Strategic Planning and Development, I had a lot of interactions with the Department of Higher Education. At that time, it was in the Ministry of Education. When the position of Deputy Vice Chancellor at UKM became vacant, the Higher Education Department Director informed me that he was nominating me as the next Deputy Vice Chancellor. Roadblock. Unfortunately, the nomination did not go through. We shall not speculate. But the next thing I know, I received a letter from the KSU, that time was Tan Sri Amrin Buang, to report immediately to the Department of Higher Education as Deputy Director responsible for quality assurance. I immediately packed my bags and left. In my 6 years, I was away for 6 years. Away from UKM, I was lucky to participate in the establishment and operations of the new Ministry of Higher Education. I was also free to develop the quality assurance system for public universities, which led to the Lembaga Akreditasi Negara Act being repealed and replaced by the Malaysian Qualifications Agency Act in 1997. In January 2006, I was appointed as CEO and Chairman of Lembaga Akreditasi Negara before the repeal. But this was in January. Before I could even, I was dreaming to be the CEO of the MQA. But before I could do that, I was once again instructed, this time by the Prime Minister, I think like Tan Sri Wahid, Prime Minister Asim. So two of us had Prime Ministers instructing us. To return to UKM as his first, when I went, it was first female Vice Chancellor. Thank you. I will not tell you all the transformations we did in the UKM, okay? You can read my biography. Important, when you have reached a certain level, make sure it's documented. So I made sure somebody shadow me and write the biography. By the time I was ready to leave, we launched the biography. So it's called Nurturing Futures. My lesson. What's the lesson? Why am I having difficulty? It's moving too fast. My lesson is turn barriers into building blocks. Barriers are part of the journey. We should expect them. Take each challenge as a stepping stone, an opportunity to redefine what is possible and to showcase resilience and innovation. Do not be afraid to be a trailblazer. To do the MQA Act was something new. In my case, the development of the Act for quality assurance for all higher education institutions, not just private sector, but include the public as well as the colleges. because you lay the foundation for the next generation. Okay. My journey to top leadership was long, circuitous. I joined UKM in 1975. Tan Sri Wahid at 31 was already CEO. I became CEO after 31. 31 years. Women take longer because we have unseen blocks. I believe I made it in the end because of my national visibility. After a while, they just cannot ignore, okay? For this, I must credit NCWO, which provided me a lot of opportunities. I had excellent mentors, such as Tun Fatimah Hashim, Tan Sri Zaleha Ismail, and Dato F.R. Bupalan, and many others who imbued values of service such as ethics, mutual respect, and principles of work for the cause, not self. They gave me many opportunities to build important organizational skills for leadership. Through my assignment as rapporteur at meetings, at conferences, I learned how to make reports, draft resolutions and memoranda, and write letters to authorities. They encouraged me to organize national and regional meetings and to seek resources. Gradually, I became NCWO's voice or representative to dialogues, meetings, and consultations with government and other bodies. I became as visible as the woman's voice and was appointed to national task forces, councils, and commissions. I think Suhakam and EAIC. And also the NITC. I was also appointed by Tun Mahathir. Anyway, Tun Abdullah Badawi even appointed me to a cabinet committee, objected by some cabinet members, but he appointed me to the Cabinet Committee on Gender Equality. Lesson 6, why am I? Did I miss one slide? Let me just see. Never mind. Okay. Women must be involved with women networks, for example, NCW. I came to be in NCWO through Persatuan Siswazah Wanita Malaysia. You cannot join directly NCWO. You must belong to an organization, then get affiliated. But every organization will send 2 representatives to the EXCO. And I was the EXCO representative for Persatuan Siswazah. Because women organizations can be very powerful as a catalyst for women in leadership, as I showed you. I'll not expound the work NCWO has done for the advancement of women, but I urge all women to nurture solidarity through NGOs like your WIBM, which is also an affiliate of NCWO, so together we become strong, and speak with one strong voice, share information, and be mentors to other women. Let us forever banish the notion that women are each other's worst enemies. After saying in general, I will just share what women help women is like. When I became VC, I established a policy that nominations for a leadership post must contain at least one woman's name. I think you can practice that too, I think. The pool of potential leaders is there, but they're not visible. The policy normalizes female leadership, and such policies, I believe, are very important in male-dominated areas, such as higher education at that time, and of course, the construction industry. I heard all the 8% and so few women in leadership level. And women who do not want, when we offer them, after we've done all the screening, we offer them the job, I offer them, and they say no. I will call them up. I don't let them go. I will say to them, I have confidence in you. Why are you not having confidence in yourself? They reflect, you know. Of course, sometimes they tell me I have to go take my child from school. I say, I have to take my child from school as well. So they accept the post, and I say they all do very well. In fact, I'm so proud. By the time I finish in UKM, more than 50% of the deans were women. Okay? I had 4 deputy vice chancellors, 2 were women. I had 4 pro-chancellors, 1 was a woman, Tengku Intan Safinas. As leaders, we must help women overcome the psychological barrier of their own making. I'm going to go faster now. I see this up. We must listen, support, facilitate, engage, and empower to drive performance. Empathy and inclusion are strengths, not weaknesses. I also established Tun Fatimah Institute for Women's Leadership with the help of Kementerian Wanita, Tan Sri Sharizad at that time, with the aim of conducting courses on leadership for women and to do research in women's leadership. I also established a code of conduct and a committee to investigate sexual harassment. My best reward today is when people, especially women, come up to say, you are my mentor. So when women lift women, industries transform, because the future of leadership is not competition, it is collaboration. Okay, we are coming to the end. I want to quote Sarah Allen. She wrote the book, The Peacekeeper. We are connected. As women, it's like a spider web. If one part of that web vibrates, if there's trouble, we all know it, but most of the time, we are just too scared or selfish or insecure to help. But if we don't help each other, who will? Together, we can remove barriers and provide opportunities. Let me conclude by saying, being the first woman in any position is meaningful, but it is not enough. Our true success lies in ensuring that we are not the last, and there are more after us. I hope that what I shared today will help you to lead with vision, courage, and compassion. When you walk into a room, always expand the space for others to enter. The world changes when women like you show up, speak up, and stand firm. So build boldly, lead bravely. And always remember, leadership, like construction, is not about the structures we complete, but the foundations we leave behind. I cannot go unchallenged, you know. Tadi Datuk Sri Mazlan bagi pantun kan. We women must never back down. We always balas balik pantun, okay? Siapa kata permata tak indah, sudah indah berseri pula. Siapa kata wanita tak gagah, sudah gagah berani pula. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much, Yang Berbahagia, Professor Emerita Tan Sri Datuk Sri Dr. Sharifah Hafsah Syed Hassan Shahabuddin. Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause to Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri, not only for delivering such a powerful message, also rising up to the challenge to reply the pantun that was given by our Deputy Minister of Works earlier. Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri, for sharing your leadership about courage, integrity, and of course, emphasizing the narrative of women, empowering women. We're truly grateful for your presence and your sharing session today. We are in the midst of prepping for our first forum session today. But before that, I would like to hand over the microphone briefly to Puan Aida Razi, who has an important information that she would like to share with everyone today. Puan Aida.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. saya Aida Razzi, membantu menguruskan satu program bersempena dengan ICW 2025 yang dianjurkan oleh Kementerian Kerja Raya dan juga CIDB. Di dalam ICW 2025 juga kita ada satu komponen yang sangat menarik, iaitu ECRL Technical Visit. ECRL Technical Visit yang akan diadakan di ECRL Tunnel 2A di Rawang, dan juga di K62 Beam Yard. Alright, as everybody knows that ECRL merupakan mega construction in Malaysia. Jadi ECRL bersama CIDB membuka satu peluang kepada 80 peserta yang akan dibawa di dalam satu bas yang sangat menarik untuk experience the best of ECRL construction. Yang akan berlaku pada 31 hari bulan Oktober, Friday ini, dan juga pada 3 November 2025. 31 hari bulan adalah di Tunnel 2A di Rawang dan 3 November di site K62 Beam Yard. Bagi mereka yang berminat untuk menyertai ECRL site visit, anda boleh mendaftar pendaftaran anda di registration di luar sana semasa waktu makan tengah hari nanti. Jangan lepaskan peluang ini. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Puan Aida. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to be a part of the ECRL Link visit, please make your way to the registration hall right outside. So ladies and gentlemen, we now move on to our first forum, and the scope of topic will be about women shaping ASEAN's future from advocacy to the built environment, moderated by Surveyor Dr. Wan Maimun binti Wan Abdullah, and she will be joined by Her Excellency Architect Siti Rozai Marianti, Ibu Monica Indriasari and Architect Chan Hui Min, all from our neighboring countries, Brunei, Indonesia, Singapore. Let's give our moderator and speakers a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to invite our moderator, Surveyor Dr. Wan Maimun, and she's a pioneering figure in Malaysia's construction industry with over 4 decades of experience in quantity surveying, professional governance, education, the First Lady President of Royal Institution of Surveyors, and has led the QS Accreditation Council at BQSM. She's a former president of Women in Construction Industry Malaysia. She has championed gender equality and professional excellence. And Dr. Wan Maimun has won numerous accolades. So without further ado, I hand over the session to Surveyor Dr. Wan Maimun to introduce her panelists and moderate the forum.
Thank you so much. Such lovely MC. Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. How are you all enjoying the ambience? Good. And the soft little touches, that's what we get when women lead. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first forum, Women Shaping ASEAN's Future, Advocacy to Build Environment. So this session brings 3 remarkable women who are not only professional, practicing professional, but also policy shapers, innovators, and regional change makers. We hope to explore how these women across ASEAN translate advocacy for equity and sustainability into tangible nation-building impact to the built environment. So ladies and gentlemen, may I now introduce all these 3 distinguished panelists. On my right is Her Excellency Architect Rozai Marianti Datuk Abdul Rahman. Her Excellency is the Secretary General of the ASEAN Inter-Parliamentary Assembly and Director of Ekobumi and Partners in Berhad. She was appointed by His Majesty Sultan of Brunei as a member of the Legislative Council, and she has held leadership positions including the first woman president of Puja, Pertubuhan Ukur Jurutera dan Arkitek Brunei, Chair of ASEAN Business Advisory Council, and Chair of IPA's Standing Committee on Women, Parliamentarian and Economics. And also this is recycled paper. In recognition of her outstanding contribution, she received the Honorary Fellow of CAFIO and the Royal Order of Sahamatri from the King of Cambodia. Her Excellency continues to champion sustainability, women empowerment, and regional collaboration across ASEAN. And we have another panelist, Ibu Monica Indris Driasari. Ibu Monica is currently the Director of Townland's Jakarta office. Townland is an international multidisciplinary consultancy providing professional services in master planning, urban design, architecture, and landscape design throughout Asia, South Pacific Atlantic region, Africa, and Europe. She is certified as a regional and town planning expert and a Greenship Associate of Green Building Council Indonesia. Ibu Monica is highly experienced in various integrated development from large-scale township to smaller mixed complex. And our third panelist is from Singapore, our friend, Singapore. Architect Chan Hui Min is a director and the head of Greenwell Tech at DP Architect in Singapore. In her role, she led the strategic initiative to develop innovative and sustainable solutions, overseeing the Smart Sustainability Unit. And that unit expands the core business into new technology-related areas. You put a woman, she will expand. She has led architecture, urban planning, and sustainable building design projects in Singapore and the Middle East. She's a board member of the Singapore Green Building Council and co-chairs the Women Leadership Initiative at the Urban Land Institute, Singapore. So you see what the organizers have bring forward to you are very strong ladies from ASEAN region. So we'll start the forum with the first segment regarding advocacy to leadership. And of course, this question will be to Her Excellency. Yeah? So the question, Your Excellency, having moved from the National Parliament in Brunei into the Parliamentary Assembly at the ASEAN level, how do you see women's advocacy influencing regional policy today? And what mechanisms have proven most effective in turning advocacy to action? Your Excellency.
Terima kasih. But first of all, saya ingin mengucapkan terima kasih kerana mengundang saya to this particular fantastic thing this morning. I've been listening to so many good speeches. Jadi terima kasih, and so proud to actually see so many women really dealing with the construction industry from Malaysia. You should be proud and give you a round of applause for that. My journey basically started, I graduated very early, umur 20 tahun, I graduated from UK in architecture. So I was basically a scholarship student, so I work with government under the Public Works Department. Sama di sini, they call it Jabatan Kerja Raya. So when I actually finished my bond, I opened my own firm. So tahun 2010, I actually opened my own practice. Tahun 2017, I was appointed by His Majesty sebagai Yang Berhormat in the Legislative Council of Brunei. Still really pushing agenda of women, education, and also on minorities as well. Jadi for that particular thing, to actually look at the fact that the journey is basically when we choose construction industry are not necessarily sometimes we just lead in the construction industry. It can actually start branching out as a leader in so many different fields. And I do hope that this is basically the case, because when we advocate on certain things that we believe in, we have to change the advocacy to action. And this is the beginning of what I basically believe, because keep on constantly advocating is one thing, but how do we actually move that into an action and monitor where we are is another thing. So I'm glad hari ini to actually see a lot of data also being shared tadi by Tan Sri Wahid with regards to the data as well. So my journey with the ASEAN doesn't just started here. So tahun 2021, because I was in the private sector, I was also a member of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council. In 2021 itself, I was appointed as the chair of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, being the youngest chair, not just women, for that particular occasion. So, but it doesn't really matter kalau sekiranya you're young or you're women. I think what people need to see is the leadership, right? So how good you are, how knowledgeable you are in different areas. Not just in construction, because of course they look at me, my field is construction, but of diversity. Nowadays, we're talking about diversity, and it's really important. If there's actually points just now that everybody needs to learn, AI, otherwise ketinggalan, it's the same thing. How do you basically divert yourself beyond what you're basically currently practicing and beyond your comfort zone? Because this is the real thing now. Because we have to start thinking beyond our comfort zone and start being creative, because we are coming from a creative industry. So when I was basically appointed 3 tahun yang lalu, I started in Jakarta. My office was in Jakarta. When I finished my term sebagai YB, I thought I can practice. All right, so I said, that's it, right? I will not do this anymore. I will basically just be focusing on practicing. Then another appointment came in from His Majesty who wanted me to actually be in Jakarta as a Secretary General for the ASEAN Interparliamentary Assembly. Initially, I rejected, because I just finished my term, and I thought I'm going to practice. But then, what are the chances of a private sector, and especially women, to be given the belief to lead in ASEAN? It's something that, for sure, I cannot give an example yang mana from a private sector are rejecting this. So I decided to go for it. Give a little bit of pause for 3 years. So I'm finishing my term this year, and I so look forward to actually practicing. And I think before I finish my term, I am here in the arena of construction industry, and I feel the vibes of where I belong sometimes. But it gives a different opportunity and understanding. Because in ASEAN, you have to look into 10 buah negara. Not just your country, not just one, but 10. And now we have a new member, which is Timor-Leste. So to understand, dan sebagai parlimen once upon a time, is to bring that voices of the people to the floor, mewakili rakyat. How do you actually match this? So when we talk about policy, and when we talk about construction, we have to bring all stakeholders, everyone, to actually put it on the table. Is because kalau sekiranya we keep on advocating and there is no policy, there is no law, then it will not actually be working as well. Because we need some sort of a policy and law to put things to perspective. And this is basically a progress. So I do hope that one day as well. Is there any member of parliament di sini? Ada YB? Tak ada. Okay, say for instance, if there is an event, opportunity to actually have this really open conversation, and ada suara want to actually look into policy, please invite your yang berhormat here, because they can actually bring it to the national parliament with regards to this. So we cannot work just on our sole entity. You have to work with a lot. And this journey makes me realize how important it is to actually work with so many different stakeholders. And I'm glad this there's so many different fields and to look forward. And with ASEAN, it's a whole lot of different experiences to actually look forward to. So that's all I can share for now.
For now, thank you so much. I think you're talking about stakeholders, inclusivity. Can we also just talk to Abu Monica and Hui Min? Do you see that language across ASEAN in your country?
Yes, of course, because inclusivity in our country is also becoming a very common language. Maybe I need also to share my journey. I stepped out Indonesia in a quite young age, 18 years old, and I started my college in the Netherlands. I spent there around 6 years, and as happening, I need to go back to Indonesia because, you know, I'm getting married. So, so the traditional ways of woman starting. Then, as usual, we have our first child. By the way, she's here with me, my first child. So, when I start my professional career, I have a baby who needs my breastfeed, for instance. So juggling around between works and baby is not that easy, as everyone knows in the room. But through the years, I managed to juggling around my professional works with my domestic works, and then coming the two others babies, they are boys. And when I joined Townland, Townland is a international multidisciplinary planning and design established 40 years ago in Hong Kong. We have offices in Mumbai and Shenzhen, and Indonesia is being the second office in the region. So during the struggling for the professional works, but I managed at the time being the first Indonesian woman who is appointed as a director of the country. So before my era, the director is always a foreigner. So it proves that woman, if you are working with your heart, because our projects mostly are designing a city, townships development. Township development is a long-term commitment because it's not like building a house or building a tower which maybe 2, 3, 5 years will be finished and it can be used. Or building a house for a certain people, then you focus only on a subjective of that family perhaps. But building a townships, it takes patience, sometimes 10, 20, 30 years, even beyond. And you deal with a lot of different peoples because you make something for the people. With a different background, different cultural, different economical background, you deal with the government as well as with the private sectors and also with the end users. So it's like nurturing your child actually. So when you have a baby, start crawling, walking, running, and then you see him or her growing up and mature enough to explore the world. The city is also like that. We need to be adaptive enough, flexible enough, because most of the township development in Indonesia is private sector driven. So you need to understand the market to be able, the product development be accepted by the market because it is private sector. You need to deliver the revenue to the stakeholders. But at the end, of course, you cannot sacrificing the social issues. You cannot sacrificing the environmental issues. There are a lot of things to be considered, which at the end needs to give also benefits in different sectors. And it should have a holistic approach, integrative approach, multi-sectoral approach. You cannot work alone. There's planners, architects, engineers, suppliers, accountants, laws, and a lot of things are going on in the city. And as a planner, you need to see it, the functionality of the city. Nowadays, as a planner, we need to see that a lot of people will be using your cities. How they can be conveniently move from one point to another point. If you happen to be in Jakarta, you know one of the biggest challenges we face is the traffic jam. Traffic jam. Sometimes as a working mom, you need to travel to your work 1 to 2 hours by car, go to work, and when you finish your work, you go home another 1 to 2 hours. So when we design a city, maybe you happen to heard about the 15-minute city, walkable neighborhood. That's, I think, very much important to be considered. because from the point of view of a woman, from a point of view of a mom, you would like to, for instance, having experience getting your child to the school before you go to your work. And maybe during a lunchtime, you be able to go home for a while to have lunch with your toddlers and coming back to work. Or in the evening, after you finish your work at 5, you'll be able to go to the park before you start your dinner. And it can be done if you have a 15-minute city where mobility, pedestrian, cycle, park is integrated with good mode transportation. So being a woman in this eyes, you can see that how you manage to do your activities daily will affect how you design.
I was about to ask that. Being a woman helps.
Yes.
Human, you want to say something about inclusivity?
Maybe very quickly, since everybody has shared a little bit about their personal journey and linking it up to the question regarding inclusivity in cities. So maybe I just want to say I'm very honored to be here. And I think that I should say that I am very lucky, hope, touch wood, that by saying this and not jinxing myself, I'm very lucky. I managed to discover quite early in my career what I'm good at. And what I'm really good at is I have an ability to quickly understand complex things and help translate that to other people so that I can advise, strategize, and unpack all these things. And that's why, the things that I've been doing, complex projects, now going into areas of sustainability, AI, and all that. And that was my talent. And and built upon that, I was also lucky to be in a foundation where my family was very supportive of me being very independent. I got married when I was 49. So this is something that is quite, my family was very, very encouraging. They didn't give me pressure. This foundation, and then I also, for a large part of my career, was in DP Architects, which, to echo what the previous speaker was talking about, building a foundation for others, DP Architects has a really good foundation for basically promoting women and helping women, even though we can do more. And now I'm in a position to pay it forward. And in that environment, for 2 decades, I was given an opportunity to do a tour of duty. I was taking leadership role in projects in the Middle East, in Singapore, and that development really, really helped me. I was a beneficiary of this kind of system to allow me to be confident, to be myself. That is, I would say, I am very lucky, and I think this is one of the important things to promote, especially at events like these, because having ladies, regardless of your age, be comfortable with yourself and saying that there's a place and a role that you can play, especially now back to inclusive environments. Some of the top researchers in Singapore, so inclusive environments is, you know how Singaporeans are, we like to measure everything. So we also measure inclusivity of built environments. So if anybody's interested, I can send you some papers, I can send you some research that people have been doing in Singapore on walkable cities and dementia-friendly environments, elder-friendly environments, and they all happen to be women who wrote these papers, who lead the research and advocacy of inclusive designs in our built environments. So I would like to basically say that there's a huge role that women can play, and perhaps it's because of our ability to observe, our personal experience, the willingness to marry the practical experience with a touchy topic like, okay, you want to do a built environment for elder-friendly wayfinding. Okay, by the way, now it's like a guideline in Singapore. Soon it will become law.
Thank you, Human. I think what we are talking about advocacy just now, there's so many things that I take from both three of you. This thing that says you have to say yes. Yeah, you're excellent. You're saying You can be visible, but when people ask you, do you say yes? Say yes, don't be afraid. And Ibu was saying from women's perspective, you are able to be a better planner. And Human was talking about ability to understand and put it in better context. That's our strength. Yeah? Okay, now after advocacy, we're talking back now to the second segment, which is about built environment. So I'm going back to you, Human, because of your work in DP Architect, span sustainability and digital innovation in Singapore and also Middle East. So my question is, how does women architects and urban planners, leaders, driving this transition towards net zero and inclusive cities in ASEAN?
Right, so maybe I'll talk generally first and then highlight where
Especially
women
the net
can
zero.
play a role. Yeah. So net zero is a problem that cannot be solved by one person. Unfortunately, every little bit counts. And you need a certain perseverance, and you literally count everything, from the personal carbon emission to your company's carbon emission to the national carbon emission, and every little bit counts. And if you have that attitude, okay, it's very little, why do you even bother? I only go for the big ticket items. That is not the approach for net zero. You will never achieve it. And so to that point, you know, we mentioned earlier in the day, there were some speakers who mentioned about some, you know, maybe it's stereotypical, but women are more diligent and more unwilling to let go of things that are bothering them. And that is the very nature that helps us basically achieve net zero, carbon accounting, especially sustainability. A lot of the environmental sustainability metrics are very nitty-gritty, not very flashy, not very Instagrammable. It requires a lot of grunt work and hard work and collaboration to achieve. And I think that women have a very important part to play in this field.
Okay, thank you so much. Do you like to add something, Ibu Monica, about net zero?
Sustainability is indeed a very important aspect, and I believe every country here has their own certification rating system. Singapore has a green mark, and Malaysia have green building index. I think you have another one, real estate, green real estate. Also, and Indonesia also has a green ship. So I was thinking, actually, as an ASEAN countries, maybe it's also worth a while to consider how we can develop each other rating to be somehow can be implemented regionally, because then if we can share our common practice, our common background, because Indonesia, Brunei, Singapore, Malaysia, of course, has a lot of similarity in sustainability. Then we can grow together in this field and becoming more resilience in terms of regional occupancy. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to put these two words together, advocacy and built environment. So my question is to Her Excellency, because I'm very interested just now, you were saying your journey, you're just doing your work. Somehow you become visible and somebody asks you to do something and you say yes. So the question is, how is your advocacy, your voice, your passion, your commitment, you're able to translate to leadership? All right? Okay.
Yeah, so it's never easy for women. I'm a mother of 5 boys. I like that part. I don't want to sebenarnya mau say it, but I'm just going to say it. So I have 5 boys, right? I have 2 grandchildren.
And so still pretty.
That's the end of my panel discussion. But I think one thing fantastic about women, we have to be very patient. Satu, bersabar. Our culture very strong. Our Islamic teaching is very strong. It's what we believe. I think what Tan Sri Wahid was saying, what is our purpose sebenarnya? So if I can actually do that, mentor more younger generations to follow that footsteps, then we should. Because it's important for the youth, for the next generation to follow. We don't complain. I mean, to be honest, it's a path that I choose. We must know what we want to actually do. You want to empower women? Do it. Make sure you champion it, not just by saying it, but by you doing it as an example. To actually say, how do I do it? I don't know. But it is, just do it. I'm not promoting Nike. I'm just saying, just do it. Because everything comes from a purpose. But if you want to do it for the sake of akan di-promote or those are, it's also wrong. Because it comes from your nawaitu. If your niat is lurus, betul, then that will actually go to what you really want to do. Sometimes the journey is even unexpected, believe me. To actually say whether I'm the best mother, I wouldn't say I'm the best mother because I'm a working mother, but I will always be there because our career path and our biological clock never meets. So when I have 5 boys, right, 3 graduated, 1 will be graduating in architecture, alhamdulillah, right, this December. So I only have 1 more who is 14 tahun. But then I have 2 chuchus running around. So when I actually say that, they're not close to me, to be honest with you. Not yet, it's because I live in Jakarta. But that's the journey. We don't look at our age, but we see our purpose. Keep on doing that. You will see more women out there doing this purpose to give and encourage young lion. Because the moment they actually see you, your journey will never be smooth, for sure. If you're going to ASEAN region, mashallah, you will actually see that. The number of women parliamentarians, I'm sharing here, because we have, throughout ASEAN, we have 2,935 members of parliament. Doesn't masuk Timor-Leste, because Timor-Leste just joined in. Only about 22% are women parliamentarians. The highest number of women parliamentarians now, you know which country? Singapore, 33%. Second is Vietnam with 30%. Third is Philippines. You can actually see that there are, but it changes all the time. Every single time you actually have election, it changes. But even with youth, young generation or young parliamentarians, Singapore is at the top notch. So you can actually see how much support, and you can actually see the law. They really try to actually enforce. Sometimes it's not just about the law. It becomes our daily normal life to acknowledge women, to acknowledge the younger generation. You don't need law by then if it's already in your system. But in order for us to actually train ourselves, we have to put it in our system to acknowledge that. So I hope that here everybody will actually keep on having in their system to support women, but bearing in mind, we will not be able to do this on our own because we need the male ally. We should be talking this to the men a lot.
He
for
she.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And you know, to see we do have few members of male here. I'm glad, even though it's only perhaps 10%. So next time, let's increase the number to at least 30% of men to actually attend this event. Thank you.
I see the cameraman clapping. You know Her Excellency leadership quality? After looking at us here, she leaned to me and said, I'm going to do a WIBM in Brunei.
I was just amazed with what Malaysia has done.
I said, no problem, come and
I was like
contact
sitting
us.
next to her and I said, can you share with me how, right? Because it intrigues me. And when I see that, and I said, this is what we can actually do in Brunei. So there you go, I learned something from Malaysia.
Yeah, it's being in WIBM, I think it's amazing and challenging, of course challenging. Amazing and challenging because we have all sorts of people, different attitude and different culture. Okay, Ibu Monica, would you like to add in about coming together, advocacy and built environment? What does advocacy in built environment mean to you?
Actually, advocacy in my field, planning and design large-scale township project, it should be somehow lean towards the holistic approach. We cannot work alone. We need to work together as a nation with Brunei, Singapore, Malaysia. We share our common language, share everything, cultural background, even a similar climate system. So we have that in mind already. And in the current proposition, actually, by having different stakeholders, private-public partnerships, also with the academia, different perspective can be shared. That's our strong in women, because by the time we have professional as well as domestic work, we need a very strong support system at home, also at works, who can understand our position. So we used to see different things in different perspectives, and that's what makes us a stronger together. So I think that's the most important thing.
Thank you so much. That's what we are in WIBM. Okay, Human would like to add in something?
Yes, maybe I'll share the Singapore perspective. So there is an emerging, in the past few years, conversation that wants to go beyond sustainability. So for us, sustainability, when you just look at environmental sustainability, it's not holistic enough. I echo that. So in the typical Singapore fashion, if you want to reach here, you must aim here, right? So to aim here, the conversations are about regenerative approaches. That means you want to give back more than you take up. If you use the energy, you not just about net zero, you want to push for positive. In Singapore, it's practically impossible because all tall buildings, but we try, you know. But what we can really give back more is greenery, biodiversity. If you remove trees, you plant 4 per every tree you chop, right? You do biodiversity, that means you promote the growth of habitats, and you prioritize animals just like you prioritize humans. You pay a lot of more attention to inclusive design and building up communities rather than just real estate that makes money. So these are the things that giving back to human communities, giving back to nature, basically giving back more than you consume is a concept that is now very popular in Singapore. And this is something that we need, and more, together with that, as a carbon story, keeping buildings. That means trying your best not to demolish whole buildings. Even keeping the foundations or keeping the cores is a carbon reduction in the total life cycle carbon of the building. So that forms part of a regenerative approach. It's a design approach. So this is something that we advocate for a lot as architects, and also forms the core of what I'm also developing as technology tools to help people in the construction industry measure, understand, and benchmark these kinds of issues, because it's very complex, right? So you need to step-by-step benchmark it so everybody can now progress together. Yeah, so that it plays a part. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So we have talked about advocacy, build environment. We are going towards another topic, which is building the future, the talent, the mentorship, and unity. So my question to all the panelists is this. If you could define one priority for women in the built environment over the next decade, what would it be? Your Excellency?
Sorry, the built environment?
Okay. If you could define one priority for women, so what would it be?
Okay, so let me just basically start with certain things. I remember there a slide with regards to we have to make sure before we even want to go beyond our country or you want to go regional, you must make sure that your home base is solid enough, right? Yes. Now I'm going to translate that in myself as well. I mean, in any family. So we start from home, isn't it? We teach our kids being sustainable. We teach our kids to do the best thing, respecting elderly, respecting that. So I think the base itself must be very solid. Here we are, just imagine you want to actually start advocating to others. But if we don't actually have a solid foundation, how can we even successfully do it? So I believe in that particular principle. Anything that we basically do, again, goes back to what is our purpose, apa sebenarnya our nawaitu, to actually lead for what purpose. So again, going back to the foundation, whether it's at home, whether it's career, whether it's your professional advocacy, we start building it from our heart. Then our journey, our purpose is going to be, inshallah, menuju to what is the purpose going to be.
And it will be sustainable. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Your Excellency. Ibu Monica, would you like to add? One main purpose.
Now, actually, when we are an architect, it's common for us to build something physically. But I think building something physically, we need to go beyond, because like I plan a city, it's not only a physical development, but beyond that, we would like people to be comfortable using that. People start to walk, people start to cycle, and once they feel comfortable, then it becomes their habit. And once it becomes their habit, it's a new lifestyle for the community. So you build the community based on whatever physical development you have, but then it will be more long-lasting, more sustainable, and more livable, because then the community itself feeling that they are having advantages on your development, and they are being responsible to make sure that it will last longer. And they will be together making sure that the future generation can use that also. So you have your legacy there, which can be not only sustainable enough or not only advantageous enough for the people using that in this moment, but also in the moment ahead. Not only for the people using that inside the development, but adjacent to development, region-wide, nationwide, region-wide, or worldwide even. So it will be like the small steps that you take can be a multiplier effect to a lot of multi-sectoral.
So are you saying the sustainable development in your urban planning?
Yes.
That's what you're saying, yeah?
Yes,
I
sustainable
couldn't
and
catch
livable.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Women?
Right, so because this is a women's conference, I think what I will say is more related to women. Now, we have a very unique advantage because we actually organize. You don't see men's conferences like this, right? So, and the topic of the conference is literally about advocating for more women to be stepping up. We're here to the young women, we're here to watch your back, just do it, go ahead, we'll help you, we've tread your path before. We are building community. And this is very, very precious. We are in the beginning stages of the journey because we're nowhere close to, let's say, the Nordic Europe, right? Because they would have a different perspective. But here we are in ASEAN, we're all having a common starting ground. Let's make use of this opportunity to its fullest, right? Build a community, build an ASEAN culture for women in construction. You have already WIBM, and Yanti is going to start one in Brunei. Singapore has always. Let's assemble. Let's make an impact. Since we're already small minority, you say 33%, 20%, 12%, then let's make that 12% punch higher, punch above your belt. It should be 80% impact with your 12% representation.
There you go. So can I just summarize what you're saying is, for Your Excellency, you're saying that the home base must be solid. That's where you can go from there. And Ibu Monica, you're saying we're talking about sustainable development, but it starts with small steps. And Humin, you're talking about build that community. Have an ASEAN, what you're saying? ASEAN.
Women in construction.
ASEAN culture, women in construction. All right. We have, I think, about 20 minutes before we wrap up. We can ask the floor for any question. Any question from the floor? No?
I think lapar mungkin.
Jangan. Any question? Or any pantun? I don't have a pantun. Tak sempat nak buat pantun. No question? Are we okay? How long do I have, organizer? How long do I have? 5 more minutes. Oh, I have 5 more minutes for no question. If not, I can wrap up. No question. Everybody satisfied or hungry? We are talking about advocacy, leadership, built environment, sustainability, digital. But you know what are the key words that I pick up from all the words that we've been talking about? Women are adaptive, flexibility, the difference between housework and parenting, ability to understand and put it in context. We won't let go until we're satisfied. We are patient. See your purpose. Small steps. Give more than what you take. What are those? Those are us. Those are sentiment. Those are women. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy that we are on time. So, thank you very much, distinguished panelists, for sharing your experience and insight. What we have heard today remind us that advocacy is not a chapter. How advocacy, which is our voice, our commitment, what we champion, becomes a policy, and how policy translates into design, and how design builds communities. I think all of us understand that advocacy is a continuous journey that shapes policies, design, and generation to come. And we women are should be in the forefront. So thank you very much to our panelists. Please join me in appreciating our panelists. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to our moderator, Surveyor Dr. Wan Maimun binti Wan Abdullah. Surveyor, I must admit, you know why we're on time? Because women are efficient. And also thank you to our panelists, Her Excellency, Architect Siti Rozai Marianti from Brunei, Ibu Monica Indriasari from Indonesia, and Architect Chan Hui Min from Singapore. These 3 women who embody the spirit of ASEAN leadership. So ladies and gentlemen, before we break for a lunch, a couple of announcements we would like to share with everyone. Of course, we give way for the presentation of memento from Yang Berbahagia, Datuk Ir Nafisa Radin. It has been such an empowering, enlightening, inspiring series of sessions for the first half of Women Way Forward Conference 2025 for us today. A reminder to all our delegates to ensure that you scan your attendance to enable you to clock in your CCD and CPD points, and for you to have the certificate of completion at the end of the forum. Just give a couple of seconds for our members of the media for their photo and video coverage. Ladies and gentlemen, we will break for lunch. It will be served at Hall 4, Level 1. We are at Level 3. We would like to invite you to go to Level 1. Lunch will be served at Hall 4. Please be here at 2 p.m. And on the way to the lunch venue, you will be passing Hall 2 for the Build Expo. Also, something not to be missed by our delegates today. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for all of our speakers today. Kudos to WIBM for a successful launch, a series of empowering talks, and we have more exciting and empowering topics once we're back after lunch. We will see everyone here at 2 p.m. Assalamualaikum.